And he's basically playing Risk because people hurt his feelings, or people ostensibly hurt his feelings. So I am appreciative that the president is being transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
Cameron's grateful that the president is being transparent about the Nobel Peace Prize and his desires for Greenland. Scott, what do you think about that?
You going to let that sit? Are we going to claim here on CNN that the president is part of a global sex trafficking ring, or?
Well,
I mean,
we're going to talk about the Epstein file. Scott, I will do the fact checking as we go along here. Repeat what you said about the global sex trafficking ring.
That Donald Trump was provably very involved with it.
Okay, we'll get to that later. I mean, Donald Trump has never been charged with any crimes in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. But
let's be
adults
here.
We'll talk about Epstein files.
Serious.
Satisfied?
And he's basically playing.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Follow program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic. Hope you all had a phenomenal 24 hours or thereabouts since I last saw y'all. Since then, it seems like we may have gotten Greenland. A lot of updates about things going on in Davos. Gavin Newsom making a complete and total jackass out of himself there. And perhaps the Clintons they're one step closer to potentially going to prison. Yes, it's true. Things are moving along. Does that mean that Pam Bondi is going to do anything in that direction? I don't know. I'm not saying she will. I'm just saying we're one step closer. So I don't know. Anyway, so that's what's going on. We even have a goal up tonight. There's another story that I may be covering if we hit this goal, where I'll be going into detail about the case of Trump versus Lisa Cook. That's right, that member of the Federal Reserve Board who he's been trying to bounce on out of there. That had oral arguments before the Supreme Court. And I find that people like it when I actually break down Supreme Court oral argument sections. I think that's actually a strength of mine. That's like an area where I feel like I'm able to help make it more digestible and hopefully more entertaining. I can make funny faces when Ketanji Brown Jackson is talking. It's all in all a good time. And we will do that if, in fact, we hit our goal. Joe, what's the goal? Well, the goal is our standard goal of $10, 15 super chats and or Rumble Rants. And I guess technically I take money from the ghetto. I take money from the from the diggers over if you want to go into locals. Wherever it is, each one $10 or more. We get 15 of those during the course of tonight's show. Boom. Trump v. Lisa Cook. You know you want it. The other thing you probably want, I think you probably want is seeing as how it's Wednesday night, is for me to be like hanging out with this fine gentleman over here. How are you today?
Lock her up. Wait, are we not chanting that yet? Or is it too soon?
Lock her
is it too soon to start?
You came in hot. I don't know if anyone else heard. I couldn't hear you. Like I heard like lock.
Probably.
Yeah.
You never. It's the way StreamYard does. You always got to give it a second.
Yeah.
What's up? It's good to see you, buddy.
I am good. How are you doing tonight?
Man, I can't complain. I'm ready to hear about this Davos stuff mainly. I've been avoiding it like the plague because I want to see. I heard a lot of good things. I kept seeing stuff, and I'd be like, nope, I don't want to see it. I want to see what Joe has to say about it.
That's the way. Yeah. That's the way most people should approach life in general. Is what does Joe have to say about this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll form my opinion. Right.
That's exactly. I'm not going to form my opinion on anything you say. Actually, no. I just would like to see how incorrect you are so I can then correct you.
I appreciate that. So you're here to set the record straight as to what reality is, in contrast from whatever I'm saying. All right.
And I'm here to say hey to my chat. How's it going, chat? It's good to see y'all. I see you out there.
There you go.
Very nice to me. Thank you.
Sin is so loved. He is so loved. It's crazy. Well, there you go. I guess we can start. I guess we should start off in Davos.
All right, let's do it.
I'm going to start off with this clown over here. which it's, Scott Bessent, the head of the Treasury, came up with the perfect description for this clown. The perfect description. Unbelievable. You're going to hear it in just after we watch this clip.
Do you have a message for Europeans who are concerned about the messages from the White House around Greenland this week?
Yeah, it's time to buck up. Time to get serious and stop being complicit. It's time to stand tall and firm, have a backbone. It's I've seen this in the United States, the supine Congress playing both sides, saying one thing on a text or a tweet, another publicly.
Should you respond with tariffs?
It's time to stand tall and strong.
Does that mean responding?
He's telling Europe, stand up to the president of the United States. This is what this jackass is doing. So he's going to Europe and telling European leaders they need to stand up to Donald Trump. He's a governor of one of our states, the state that he's, yanked down into the toilet and basically, he's shoving the citizens of California, like doing swirlies on them, like doing the flushing thing where he's holding his face down as he's like flushing and flushing. This guy here is now going to Europe and telling European leaders, you need to stand up to Donald Trump.
Isn't that sort of treasonous? That's a bit treasonous.
Oh, that's what it is an interesting question you're asking there, right? I mean,
yeah, that's the first thing that came to my head was like, this is treason.
It sounds insane, right? It sounds like that cannot be legal where you're telling people to basically go against the president. You're telling other countries, hey, stand up to the president, to the American president.
Yeah, go against my country's interests, please.
That sounds really, really treasonous. It does.
Lock him up. Lock him up. Too early for the chance, I guess. Okay.
I don't know if you call it the Logan Act. And the Logan Act is when you're meeting with other people. Here, he's not talking to them directly, but it does sound seditious. I mean, what the hell is going on here? Maybe he felt like the seditious six. He's like, oh, you think you did something? Hold my beer, I
mean, what's the punishment for treason? Isn't the punishment for treason still pretty archaic? That's what I was about to say. Isn't it still hanging? I'm serious. Like, I think it's pretty archaic still. It's not like just a normal punishment. Ooh, Gavin, buddy.
Yeah, I think there has to be an overt act together with them in order for it to be actually deemed treason. So I don't know that it's treason.
So if he did this, all right. So if he did this, and then it spurned on a world leader to cause a problem with America against our interest, then he could at least go to trial for it.
Well, it wouldn't be incitement, right? Because you have to have proximity of time and place. He would say, it's my freedom of speech. If he's
where's he at? Does he have freedom of speech in that country?
He's an American citizen. Under American law, you're gonna have freedom of speech.
Is he though?
Is he?
That would be if I was a lawyer on the case. I'd be like, but is he?
But wait, is he really?
I would hit him. I would hit the judge or the whoever is sitting there. The grand jury, going, yeah, but a whole lot. That's exactly what I would do.
Yeah. Well. Let's see what else he has to say. I feel like my audio is like having a problem hearing. I wonder if it's my cord here. Like I hear myself fading. Do I sound like I'm fading in and out to you or no?
You sound beautiful. You sound like the voice of an angel, a drunken angel, but still an angel.
You're making me blush. Thank you.
I do what I can. That's what I'm here for.
To stand united. You make that determination. I don't make that determination.
So when you say standing tall, what do you mean?
I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders. Handing out crowns and this is pathetic. Nobel Prizes that are being given away. It's just pathetic. And I hope people understand how pathetic they look on the world stage. I mean, at least from an American perspective, it's embarrassing.
So what should you?
This guy's embarrassing.
This is teetering on sedition. In all honesty, it is truly tiptoeing that line.
It's crazy, right?
Yes,
It's really
wild.
it's really crazy. He's very artful in far as saying, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do. That's for you to decide, you know.
Irony. Yeah, no, it's the way he's putting it out there. He's got enough anger and venom in it to there's gonna be some cocky world leader that goes, you know what? Gavin Newsom's right. And he is American. And it's gonna I'd be surprised if it doesn't cause some sort of news drama, you know.
I don't know if anyone is going to say, because Gavin did this, I'm going to do this, because he
Well,
said this.
they're not going to say that publicly, but in their head.
Maybe that's possible.
Yeah.
I'm doing. You should decide. The Europeans should decide for themselves what to do. But one thing they can't do is what they've been doing.
What's up,
And they've been
Bronco?
playing. This guy is playing folks for fools, and it's embarrassing.
Europeans think this is diplomacy, and this will
Well,
ultimately
this is
work.
diplomacy with Donald Trump. He's a T-Rex. You mate with him, or he devours you. One or the other.
And
I
Europe's
mean,
being
people
devoured.
need to stem him.
So first and foremost, that doesn't even make sense. You said
No.
you should be saying, if you mate with him, he devours you.
Yeah.
That's what he means to be saying, but he's too stupid. But it's
No, the Europeans could be if they continue to look down this path and process. They need to stand tall, stand firm, stand united.
he never actually says the phrase "stand up against Donald Trump."
That's what I'm saying. He's touching that line.
This is what
He's
2 hair washes
Yeah.
can do in 6
Whoa,
months.
whoa, whoa! I don't want to see these Rumble ads. What are you doing? Get
You
premium.
need to
Exactly
know.
92.
Get it? I don't need to. I've got fantastic hair. I have a beautiful mullet, which I'm cutting off tomorrow. But still, it's a beautiful mullet right now. All right.
You and me both. So
No, don't you dare! Don't you dare put that rumor out there. No, sir.
yeah, so beautiful mullet. Anyhow, so yeah, so I think what he said there was pretty freaking outrageous. Personally, I can't even believe it.
It's wild to hear an American leader go on a world stage and say that about his country. Like, it's absolutely
with that disdain and disgust and that air of
Yeah.
superiority. He's what a schmuck.
the condescension
Yes.
is what it is in his tone that makes my skin crawl.
The clown set up $100 knee pad merch before he flew all the way there to give that line. Yeah,
Did he really?
I don't know. I don't think so.
What a I wouldn't doubt it.
Did it? Maybe. Newsom sounds like he's reporting his own loss of virginity in prison. He's funny. Andrew's funny. Yeah. Hey, there were repercussions for him. Sort of. Not really like, anything like traumatic, like
Of course not. There never is.
there never is, right? California Governor Newsom was denied entry at an event at the World Economic Forum on Wednesday. Newsom's speech was canceled at the last minute. What is Newsom doing in Davos anyway? I don't know.
Oh, what happened, Gavin?
I don't
What
know.
happened, buddy? Oh.
I don't know. Gavin Newsom was informed at the 11th hour that his talk with Fortune, a USA House in Davos, was canceled. Newsom had been invited to speak on Wednesday at an event sponsored by USA House, which for the first time was recognized by the U.S. government as the country's official headquarters at Davos. But an organizer told his office that they had opted to not include any U.S. officials in the talk focused on CEOs and other business leaders. So you think they portray as if it's because of his statement, but I'm not sure that's what it was. And a private exchange of messages obtained by Politico. A Newsom administration official accused the USA House of bowing to political pressure from the State Department, an accusation the organizer denied, while emphasizing the government was still welcome in the venue in a microcosm of the larger geopolitical tensions on display. The back and forth reflected the political sparring match playing out at the gathering of the world elite. Newsom, Democratic governor in California, a likely 2028 presidential contender, attempted to trumpet California as an alternative to the vision laid out by Trump officials who also gathered in Switzerland, as if anyone has a dream of becoming California. Like, that's the goal. Maybe once upon a time that was reality. Not anymore.
In the 90s, I mean, California was the coolest place to be.
Right.
Like everybody, Disney, all that crazy stuff that was out there, movies, Hollywood, music, everybody was, I want to go to Hollywood or New York. And now both of them are just like, you know what? No, I think I'll stay in my small town in the South. That's you guys can have it. No,
you're probably too young to remember this. In the mid to late 1980s,
completely too young, wasn't even born.
Right. There was actually, they actually filmed commercials like Phil Simms winning the Super Bowl. And they said, Phil Simms, you just won the Super Bowl. Where are you going? He's like, I'm going to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Like that was like Disney's like thing. I don't know if they said Disneyland or Disney World, but the point being that like, yeah, going to Florida and California was deemed like, optimal destinations.
Yeah.
Who the heck wants to go to California now? I mean, seriously. I mean, unless you're President Xi and they're going to clean out the human feces everywhere.
They clean the streets up for the first time for the Chinese president.
Yes.
Good job, boys. Way to go. What dummies. What absolute dummies. Just don't get it, man. Everything out there. California is what the on the world stage, what's its GDP? Like it's
I think it's like fourth in the world.
Yeah, third or fourth in the world. And you've just got nothing but trash and garbage and people living in it. To me, it's
they turn themselves into a welfare state, and not only a welfare state, a poorly run welfare state, which allows for billions of dollars in fraud.
It reminds me of a friend of mine went to India, and he was talking about how literally like one street will have a fence, and on one side of that fence is like billionaire high-rise towers, and on the other side is just the slums. And that's what California is starting to remind me of now. It's crazy. But even the slums are like $1 million homes out there because of the real estate market is just so upside down. It's insane to me what California has done.
He's out there in Davos. How many houses in Palisades have been rebuilt that were destroyed in the fires he let rage for weeks on end?
I don't think
year
any
ago.
Of them yet. Yeah,
none of them have been rebuilt. Yeah.
It's still a wasteland over there.
And he's busy palling around with his billionaire friends in Davos.
Yeah, I got a friend who was born and raised in California. His name's Salty Draws. He's a comic book artist, and he worked out in advertising out there, Disney, done all kinds of cool things. And he just packed up and went to Tennessee. He's like, no. His whole family and everybody is still out there. And he was like, I just can't do it no more. And moved to Tennessee. So
everyone's moving to Tennessee now.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to register with an agency to speak for America? You'd think so, Renee? You'd think so?
Yeah, you probably should do that, right?
I don't think you don't have a legal right to speak on behalf of America. He's not speaking on behalf of America. He would say he's speaking as an individual American. That's what he would claim. I
just wish Nancy Kerrigan would have happened to him, Somebody with a little bar to the knee would have been funny.
Nothing more humiliating for a gal to show up at Davos with knee pads and be told, nah, we're good. California 2026, 20 billionaires versus 10,000 Americans versus 40 million Mexicans. And here's the thing I was actually thinking about when I was watching that clip of Gavin Newsom earlier today, along the lines of what Andrew's talking about, which is if you are these 20 billionaires, you want there to be very few Americans. You're much happier. The reason you want there to be, as long as everything is enough there to have everything running that you can, get what you need when you need it. It's like, because those Mexicans or whatever, whoever it is that you're importing there.
Yeah, be easy.
They're technically not able to vote. You have more voting power. It's like your vote ends up taking on their weight. Meaning,
also, those 20 billionaires are hiring those Mexicans at below average wages in order to do the stuff they want them to do.
Yes.
Versus,
yes. Yeah. So you end up. So your thought pattern is, if I chase out all the Americans, so now you have all this electoral power where you got 54 electoral votes or 52, whatever they're down to now, and for like 10,000 people voting. If they if they could create numbers, literally these numbers, which obviously it's not 10,000 Americans, Andrew's being facetious here, but if you could build this out, just understand how much more influence you're having, because those 40 million they count electoral votes, but they cannot technically vote, although there's claims that they do
So you
vote.
can sway the vote to get what you want, how
Your
you
vo-
want, when you want.
Yes.
You also have a
Yes.
built-in slave labor force. You also can now buy up property that people are abandoning and leaving. And they're saying, you know what, just get me out of this house. I just want to go. The cost of living in, say, Alabama or Tennessee or Florida or whatever is a quarter of this, and you're going to pay me $1 million for this, this crap hole. Okay, cool.
What I'm saying is, I think this
Yeah.
is really purposeful. I think
Yeah.
that their objective is to chase out American citizens.
So you
And
say California's planned obsolescence, then, is what it is.
no, it's not obsolescence. They're looking at it as that's a utopia for them.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying they're making
Obsolete
it
for American citizens.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
It's thievery. It's how you actually steal the property. Because the property values come crashing down.
Yeah.
And you basically have, only the elites are able to afford living there as citizens, and they have far greater influence on the American political machine than they should have, because they're basically wielding all the force, that is gifted to them because of the fact that they have these illegal aliens who are there. So as long as you can keep yourself safe and secure from the lunatic illegal aliens, and you have enough of a force for that, you basically that is the optimal position. If you're a crazy communist, this is the optimal position for you. So is to get the numbers to approximate this as closely as possible. You're in a far better financial, powerful position if you can actually make California numbers look like this. If you're one of those 10,000 Americans, if you're one of those 20 billionaires, especially, this is optimal for you. This is a dream for you if you're one of those 20 billionaires.
Yeah, if you're a billionaire, you just learn Spanish and you move about. You'll be fine. Way to go, boys. We did it, California. Good job. So dumb. It's such a bad idea.
Joe, you know what really hurts? As a California, I paid for Newsom to go to Davos.
Oof.
And we're at $18 billion in debt. You pay for him to go, and he can't even get into the USA House.
I paid for him to do that speech.
You paid for him I paid for him to get out there, and I can't even get him up there. Knee pads and all. I can't get up there. I feel for you, JH. I really do.
Oh, Bronca. That's a good one.
KCRA's 3-short video on Newsom blocked from speaking USA House clued me in on the knee pad merch. They used the store screen grab for context. KCRA, is that on X? Is that someone on X? You can do
it's obviously a news site. You could probably go KCRA's.
You want to go dig that up for me?
Let me try. You know me.
How long before there's a 3/5 compromise for Optimus's bots? I'm going to tell you right now. I've been screaming for a long time that's the way you can end. You can stop all the fastest way to stop all these rallies is you basically strip them of having political power. That would be the fastest way to do this. To basically say, you know what, we're only going to count these illegal aliens 3/5 because they're going to get rid of them. It's not going to be worth it for them at that point. If you say, if you're not an American citizen, we're not going to count you in the census that way. There'll be all these screams about how it's impractical. You can't, how are you supposed to know, and all these other cries about how that's not democracy or whatever stupidity that they're going to try and come up with. And they'll certainly be invoking all the, the racism that they'll pretend that, the racism of the 18th century when the 3/5 compromise they had with black people, and they'll try to say, see, they still want to put black people 3/5, and they'll have all those, that talking line will be out there, that BS line. But that would actually be fair. That's something that, I wish you don't even have anyone proposing that. That's what should be thrown out there. And when I become New Jersey, when I become the elected leader in New Jersey's 9th congressional district, I'll submit the 3/5 compromise. When that happens,
he'll institute the cult that's not a cult and the 3/5 compromise. Now, 3/5 compromise, you're a man after my own heart, being a Southerner. So you just continue down that line of
dude, you're not thinking straight. You're not thinking straight because the South wanted to count black people as a full person.
I know that,
Precisely,
but I prefer the
precisely because of what I was describing in California once. If you were in the South, if you were in the South, at the time the Constitution is being ratified, you want them to count for a full person because they're basically like illegal aliens. They count for a full person.
They
count for a
vote
full
how you
person.
want them to. Yeah,
I
or
get
you'll
more
sell 'em.
seats. I get more seats in Congress, and they're not able to vote.
Yeah.
So
you vote for who I tell you to, or I strap you to a tree.
it's not. No, it's not. You vote for what I tell you to. They don't have any vote at all. They literally would
Oh,
have
it's
those
just okay.
people.
I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you
They
mean.
had
Yeah,
zero vote, but they still would
You
get
get more
added
voting
seats.
power, is what
In
it is.
the White
without-
House, in the Capitol, you have more seats in the House of Representatives by having the slaves there. So that's why from the compromise was that the South wanted them to count as a full person, while the North said, no, you're calling them property. We should count them as nothing. And hence they come to the 3/5 compromise where they basically said, oh, okay, instead of counting them as nothing or a full person, we'll count slaves as 3/5 of a person.
To be honest with you, I'm torn between both of them. Counting them is nothing.
Should be nothing. Should be nothing. That should be the demand. No, I don't want to count these illegal aliens as anything. Count them as zero. If you could snap your fingers, if you could snap your fingers and have it count as zero, I'm telling you right now, there'd be no more protests about ICE. There would be they would die. They would wither away and die in a heartbeat if you counted them as zero, because Gavin Newsom would want them the hell out of his state. He wouldn't want them anymore. No one would want them anymore because all of a sudden
I would put a fence up around California and be like, no, they've got to stay here now. That's your fault, Gavin.
California is generally such an awesome place that we pay out the numbers to enjoy it. Ruined now by leftist policy led by Gavin. I'm out now, devastated. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, everyone that I know from California has said that. I had a friend who was doing music that went out there, and he was like, man, it's so beautiful. The weather's so nice. The people themselves are really cool, but he was like, it's just it's a shit show. It's not worth it.
Yeah. United Van Lines reported just came out. Shocker, California is number 3 in Exodus behind number 2 and New Jersey number 1. Top 3 inbound Oregon.
Where I said I would move to. Yeah.
West Virginia and South Carolina. Florida wasn't even top 10. I would think Tennessee would be up there. I keep hearing everyone going to Tennessee. But
Tennessee's beautiful, man. It's
surprised
nice.
Oregon. I'm surprised so many people are going to Oregon. That's actually a little surprising.
It's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful place.
Is it?
Yeah. It's very, very nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kathy, for that. And make illegal as a cost center again. That's yeah.
I agree with you. I went ahead and found that video about Jesus. Gavin Newsom being kept out of KCRA3 is a news channel on in Sacramento. So
I'm going to get to that in a moment. I'm going to get to that after I cover this story over here. Spuds 1964 says, lock her up. I regret to inform Sin of his upcoming fatal bout of Clintonitis. And Clintonitis sounds like something that starts by affecting you down south where you live. It was telling.
I can take penicillin for that, right?
Sure.
Not a problem.
Totally got it. Zellian says, freezing rain. Good luck with the snow hell of New Jersey that is known as this weekend. And Sin, get your effing food inside, man. We're supposed to have a massive snowstorm. I'm going to confess, I have a whole problem with the snow that I'm dealing with right now. I know you're all concerned about this.
I know. I'm listening. I'm with you. I'm right now. I am focused. I'm locked in.
So
I'm not Googling Clintonitis and how to get rid of it.
It snowed on Shabbos, and we don't shovel the walk on Shabbos. So we wait till after Shabbos, okay?
Yeah. Y'all are lazy on that day. I get it.
So now, the snow was like sort of like a little packed down, people walking on it. I know you wouldn't know from snow because you live like down in the Caribbean or something.
Yeah.
But sort of the American South. So we get snow up here. It was snowed on Shabbos, so I couldn't shovel till Saturday night. I actually had my sons here this weekend. They come in every fourth weekend and from school. So I basically was like, hey, can you guys take care of the walk? And they did. They did a pretty good job. But then overnight, Saturday night, it snowed. It was hard to get. So there's like still some there. And when you have some there, then Sunday morning and then ended up like snowing and freezing up like really hard. So now it's like my snowblower isn't going to work on this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, when it starts to warm a little bit, which the cold bouts that we've had here in the Northeast have been for like a day or two. So I was like, once it gets up over freezing and it's just not packed down rock solid snow, I'll go out there and I'll take care of it, which turns out tomorrow is the first day that we're over freezing this week. It's supposed to go up to 47 tomorrow for like a minute. And then we're supposed to on Friday drop back down to freezing cold and then get hit by 8 to 12 inches on Saturday, another 5 inches on Sunday. So I don't know how to clear out my walk. I'm like getting very freaked out that if I can't get my walkway cleared tomorrow, we're just going to be snowbound until Easter. Like that's my concern. I'm really concerned.
Easter. Why don't y'all keep like a Shabbos-goy under the stairs or something? Your people,
yeah,
like lure out with like bread and water or something, and then.
In the cupboard under the stairs.
In the cupboard under the stairs. Oh, no, you people
he keeps getting all these.
Boy?
He keeps getting all these annoying letters that are flying in through our window. The Shabbos goy. That's
right. You know
under the stairs.
You're a wizard, Shabbos goy. And then I don't know about your religion. I'm learning. I'm trying to learn as I go.
Right. No, I get it. It's very confusing. It's very confusing. Yeah. So
I think I'm gonna miss all that because we're supposed to get a lot of bad weather, but it's only gonna rain one day when it's supposed to be below freezing, and then the rest of we're supposed to get like a 14-degree day here.
Wow, really?
Yes, it's gonna be bad. But I don't need a Shabbos goy to fix anything. I just go out there and do it myself as a heathen.
Here's the thing. Someone told me I should get ice melt, but and I would do that, but we just did a new walkway like 2 months ago, and they told us don't use any salt this year. Like we shouldn't use salt for like a year on our walkway. So because I had all these different cracks and stuff like that, so I had a new walkway put in.
Ice water, right? Like
no, ice melt is like salt.
Alcohol.
No, it's like salt.
That's what I mean. Salt water is what I meant to say. Sorry,
right.
I meant to say salt water. It's salt water and like alcohol, I think, mixed together.
I love how this guy's he's dead. Jim just pay the little kid $20 to shovel the walkway. Dude, it's like 100. Okay, first and foremost.
First of all, inflation. These kids know the business now. Second of all, I'm telling you guys, he's not telling you the truth. He's got a little Shabbos goy under his stairs that he's going to lure out. He's complaining to you guys right now. But he's gonna lure him out. Don't you worry about it.
I can't use ice melt. That I certainly can't use on Shabbos. But like
somebody said, but you're too cheap in the chat.
Of course. It's actually Arkansas side. Watch your backs in.
I'll do my best. I stay strapped. Don't worry.
Oh, that's Clintonitis is Arkansas.
Yeah, Clintonitis is Arkansas. Yeah.
I'm in real estate management here in California. Los Angeles just capped rent increases at 2%. Oh, you're done. You're done. You are done.
It's
Move.
over with.
JH, get out. Move.
It's over with.
The 2% cap that they have in New York destroyed New York real estate. You're done. Forget it. Wow. Rent increases to 2%. They're destroying the rental market. Branca, $10 super goals, not $5. Step up and I'll see you in the morning, pay you back. Yeah, he's trolling you, Branca. He's like, they need the $10 ones in order to reach the goal. The $5 ones don't kick in on that. So he's like, come on, Branca, step it up. Anyhow.
Wait, I mean, could you not just call Israel and get the Jew lasers to melt your walkway for you?
That would be one way to go, but then it could be deemed like an act of war if someone misinterprets it. Plus, we have to do all that stuff like under the radar, and like when they're acting, so I don't use. It's very hard to get them to do your walkway. It's very hard.
One little quick space laser, like just.
There's a lot of politics involved.
Okay, I'm spitballing ideas here for you.
I appreciate that. Can I get back to Gavin Newsom now?
Can we talk about Gavin already?
I need to get back to Gavin. Yeah. So Newsom is denied entry after he went on a bizarre tirade against President Trump at Davos Tuesday. Newsom had a full-blown meltdown over President Trump during an impromptu interview with reporters in Davos that we saw at the beginning. Democrat governor blasted European leaders and demanded they stand up to President Trump after a reporter asked him about the reaction to Trump's position on Greenland. Time to buck up, time to get serious and stop being complicit.
Yeah, guys.
I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. Yeah. Anyhow, so that was Gavin Newsom there. You had some clips for us that you was should.
Yeah, I found the news report about him being denied entry.
All right, I'll see if I can.
There's a new beef between President Donald Trump and Governor Gavin Newsom today, and it's playing out on the global stage. According to Newsom's camp, the president blocked the governor from a speaking event in Switzerland today.
KCRA3 Political Director Ashley Zabala has been tracking this since early this morning and joins us now. What's going on?
Right. Governor Gavin Newsom's office says President Trump blocked the governor from speaking at the official U.S. pavilion in Davos called USA House.
Because he committed treason. So
Yeah. He committed treason, guys.
It wasn't really. I want to be clear because I'm a lawyer. I want to be clear. It was not treason. It's not legally treason.
I'm not a lawyer, and I'm saying it's treason.
The lawyer portion of me is saying it's technically not accurate, but what he did was it was just very uncouth.
The White House isn't denying it.
Cool, bro.
So here's how the day played out. President Trump gave a lengthy speech at the World Economic Forum. The governor was scheduled to speak at the official USA venue, the USA House, later.
Thank you.
We've learned today Trump's State Department coordinated with USA House this year to line up American speakers and leaders for events throughout the week there. About 2 hours before the governor was set to speak, he was told it was canceled. And
You're fired.
You're fired.
That's I hope they play a clip of that for him on the phone. You're fired.
And his office has said it has proof it was because of pressure from the White House. Here are
the White House should have pressured them. They should have. There's nothing embarrassing about that. This guy's a jackass. He made a clown of himself in Davos. So there's no reason for them not to pressure. There's nothing embarrassing about that. They should be like, no, this guy shouldn't be listened to by anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you go over there and give that sort of energy. Let's say Gavin does run for president and does win it, right? A lot of people think he will eventually. I'm starting to not think so. But either way, what's going to stop them from keeping that same energy with you when you go over there? Right?
No, when you mean, I'm not sure you mean by the same energy. I'm simply saying he can get up there and just spend an hour talking like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. What's going to stop let's say the world leaders do go, like, they start bucking Trump and doing all these crazy things, whatever, right? Let's say they do what Gavin wanted them to do. What's going to stop them from doing that if you ever become a world leader or somebody you want to be a world leader goes over there?
And you're right. You're right. I'm focusing on the complaint from Team Newsom, like they're trying to silence me. Yeah, and the propriety, assuming their claim is correct, assuming Team Newsom is correct, that Trump did silence him. Trump did say something like, "Hey, if you guys basically allow him to, if you allow him to speak, I'm gonna leave, or I'll hike your tariffs up by 5%."
Like that'd be pretty gangster though, right? If he did say that,
it's like it's very fluctuating.
People said that I would. Might raise your tariffs. I don't know. It's what
I just might.
Not me.
I just might. So I'm just saying. You can do what you want. You can let him speak if you like. But yeah, this guy coming in here telling the entire world that they should disregard me. I don't think it's cool of you to let him speak here. And when I'm going to be reassessing your tariffs soon, so maybe you should consider that.
Yeah,
it's like it's that simple a thing to basically have him say, okay, no on Gavin. On Gavin. And frankly, I think that assuming Trump did that, that's totally proper considering the fact that this guy is a jackass who's trying to scuttle his deals and arguably acting seditiously.
He is sedition is what he's doing, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I have no problem with that.
some of the moments from Switzerland right before all of this happened.
We're going to help the people in California. We want to have no crime. I know Gavin was here. I used to get along so great with Gavin when I was president. Gavin's a good guy. And we're going to, if he needed it, I would do it in a heartbeat. I'd love to see, we did help them a lot in Los Angeles, a lot with the early in my term when they had some problems. But we would love to do it. I will say this, if I were a Democrat governor or whatever, I would call up to him. Come on in.
Look at that face. Look at that face.
You dork. You nerd. Take that, Gavin. You big dummy. You big dummy.
This guy looking over. He's talking about you now.
What an idiot. You big stupid idiot.
You big stupid.
Make us look good because we're cutting crime down to nothing. And we're taking people out, career criminals who are only going to do bad things, and we're bringing them back to their countries.
What was your reaction to what he had to say about you?
None. I think you said something very different last night. I didn't hear new scum. I heard new green scam. But I mean, come on, it was remarkably boring. It was
what?
He says it's remarkably boring.
No, I'm saying, like, what are you talking about, Newsom? Like,
he sounds like Nathan Thurm. He's like, why are you talking about this? This is boring stuff. It's boring stuff.
Well, you
Why are
know,
talking
normally
about
he
this?
gives a really
No one cares about
exciting
this.
speech, but it was so boring this time. He's not putting. Oh man, he's not a band on stage, man. I thought it was entertaining. I started laughing. So I don't know what you're looking at.
It's particularly funny because Gavin's in the room. That's what makes it. That's what makes it like
funny.
way better.
You know, in his head, he was just cussing. He was just in his head, just screaming, just son of a.
You're on the world
sort of-
stage and you're like calling me out like that. Talking to all the world leaders and calling me out like that.
insignificant. He was never going to invade Greenland. It was never real. So that was always a fake. And so he says, well, we should negotiate.
Never.
Well, everybody here has been willing to negotiate for a year. So it had fire and fury signified absolutely nothing. Even by Trump standards, I was rather curious. And there was boorish parts of it, but those were not even that consequential, including name-checking people he likes, people he didn't like. So, I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
After the interview with CNN was when the governor found out that his speaking engagement was canceled. The White House, in response to all of this, released a statement saying, in part, no one in Davos knows who third-rate Governor Newsom is or why he is frolicking instead of fixing the many problems he created in California. We did ask the White House to confirm. They are not denying they blocked the governor.
Quote, no one knows. We're not sure who said this, but someone from the White House is quoted as saying, no one in the world knows who Newsom is. We're not sure who said it. Maybe it was Rubio. Maybe,
who knows?
Maybe it was Vance.
Quote, the White House said, get good, scrub. Like, that's just, come on, man.
Someone in the White House said this.
Someone in the White House. I don't know who it is.
That's so
That's a
good.
good
I want to hear
video.
that again. That is so good.
A statement saying, in part, no one in Davos knows who third-rate Governor Newsom is or why he is frolicking around Switzerland instead of fixing the many problems he created in California. We did directly ask the White House to confirm. They are not denying they blocked the governor from speaking. No response yet. Okay, so is the governor
frolicking?
The others
Frolicking in Davos.
Why is he frolicking in Davos?
Why? You just picture him around the lily fields with his hands like sort of dancing in the air.
Skipping across the field in the sound of music. That's what I'm picturing in my head right now. You dummy. Gavin, you big dummy. You thought you were so cool.
I love this administration. I really do.
You had this big speech plan, the whole knee pad joke. Oh, buddy, that was good. And you played yourself. You big dumb dummy.
Oh my gosh, so good.
What are we doing anymore?
That was so good.
Oh God.
All right. Brian Oldenkamp hit me up not once, but twice. God bless you, Brian Oldenkamp, trying to push us toward our goal, saying, come on, let's go. Let's go. Oh, guys, saying you're just a governor of a failing state that's bucking federal law and defrauding federal government. Newsom shouldn't be speaking on the world stage. Newsom peace sitting down. I think that was also part of the statement that Trump released. That they left out. They left out the part
that he peace sitting
Newsom
down.
Peace sitting down.
He's just a gentleman, okay?
Newsom peace sitting down. Everyone knows.
Someone told me. I didn't say this. Someone else did.
Oh goodness.
I don't know how long your walk is there, Money, but there are snow melting mats on Amazon that plug in. You put it out before the snow and it melts snow as it falls, so your walking steps stay clear. Oh, that's an interesting idea, which I hadn't considered. I have a neighbor. Who's what?
Just go ahead and continue. I'm waiting.
No, I have a neighbor who's got like real money, who has heated sidewalks to melt his snow.
Ooh,
yeah, is that
fancy.
crazy? Yeah,
that's fancy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
he just like it's like when he wants, he just like flips a switch and the sidewalk heats up and melts the snow, that's crazy.
I need that kind of money.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money, but that's an impressive thing. We don't deserve this president. Yeah, no, that was great. Frolicking.
Yeah, frolicking was a good catch. I didn't hear it the first time. It's so good.
Frolicking in Davos.
Oh man.
Oh my God. I'm here frolicking in New Jersey. Nobody frolics in New Jersey. Everyone frolics away from New Jersey. Well, anyhow, Scott Bessent. He spoke in Davos. He was not banned. And he too thought that he should mention Gavin Newsom.
Of course, as they do. Yeah.
Right. And he is the best description of Newsom. This is the best description.
I think it's very, very ironic that Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken.
Jesus.
It's so true. He looks like Patrick Bateman. Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Barbie Ken. I was like, that's it. It's the Patrick Bateman, like it's the California version of Patrick Bateman. Oh my gosh.
It's very true.
Only a Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris. He's here this week with his
it's the only person from California who knows less about economics than Kamala.
Billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros. And the Davos is the perfect place for a man who, when everyone else was on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church, he was having $1,000 a night meals at the French Laundry. And I'm sure the California people won't forget that. And I can tell my message to Governor Newsom is the Trump administration is coming to California. We are going to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse. And I was told he was asked to give a speech on his signature policies, but he's not speaking because what have his economic policies brought? Outward migration from California, a gigantic budget deficit, the largest homeless population in America, and the poor folks in the Palisades who had their homes burned down. He is here hobnobbing with the global elite. While
some say frolicking.
California
you could say frolicking.
You could say frolicking even.
He is too smug, too self-absorbed, and too economically illiterate to know anything.
Good God.
Thank you very
much. So there you go. There you go. Scott Bessent. His delivery could be needs to get like a little better. He sounds
a little more pop, a little more energy.
He sounds nervous when he talks. Yeah, you need to sort of just throw it out there. Throw it out there. He looks like that little kid who was nervous on CNN, where he's just, well, maybe.
Oh yeah.
You can see that nervous tension. Anyway, I will tell you that Howard Lutnick was there, and he rocked when he spoke in Davos, and basically had the cojones. This is real poise to go into Davos, which is, think about what this is. This is the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
This is the playground of the globalists. Right? That's what it is. The whole objective is the whole global economy. We're all going to work together. Billionaires becoming really rich and eats the bugs. And that's the origin of the whole eats the bugs I say every night is that crazy German guy. Well, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
Oh,
Hans Gruber or whatever. I don't know.
is it Hans Gruber?
It's not, but it's something like yeah, just like nefariously evil. Someone in the chat's going to type out the name for me, but yeah, that's the whole organization, which is you'll have nothing and you'll be happy. Schwab, that's what Klaus Schwab.
Oh yeah, Klaus Schwab. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, chat.
Hans Gruber's funnier, but yeah. So that whole notion, that's who he's addressing, Howard Lutnick, and he had the cojones to say to that audience this.
Okay. We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
It's unbelievable it's unbelievable that he had the cojones to go in there and say that to these different world leaders. I mean, he's sitting there on a panel with different world leaders, and he's basically, and heads of state, and he's basically saying your whole model here has been a failure, and we don't subscribe to it. And kudos to him. Kudos to him for having the cojones go out there and say that. He got some flack for it, supposedly.
Yeah.
It's been reported that he's gotten some flack for that. Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was heckled while speaking at a dinner at Davos. Christine Lagarde, head of the European Central Bank, walked out on the event. Al Gore openly booed him. He also wrote, "We're here at Davos to make one thing crystal clear with President Trump. Capitalism has a new sheriff in town. One chief executive president described the atmosphere as tense, while another said it was noisy and spicy. One of the hecklers was Al Gore, the former U.S. vice president. Why the hell is he there? Who the hell knows?" According to two executives present, U.S. Commerce Department said only one person booed, and it was Al Gore. So there's no heckling. It was just Al Gore booing like an idiot. Why? Because he's basically talking about how your whole stupid climate change policies has been the most self-destructive, stupidest thing in the world. And it's so short-sighted and dangerous to your own sovereignty ultimately. So yeah, and I'll tell you what my response is. This is the highest compliment the Trump administration should ever seek. That they're being booed by these people.
Yeah.
Let them be booed. That's what you have the cojones to go out there and tell people truth. And don't worry about the audience that you have. Don't worry about the consequences. You go out there and you say, hey, look, you know what? I mean, I wouldn't phrase it as far as like the American worker. I would say to them, you in France should be worried about the French worker. And in Germany, you should be worried about the German worker. In the UK, you should be worried about the UK worker. And Netherlands, you should be working in. You should be worried about in Amsterdam, you should be worried about the Dutch worker. That's what you should be doing. And we in America are going to be fixating on the American worker. We're fixating on our people. Now we can work together with you, but we're not going to ever be dependent on any of you. And you should never feel like you're dependent on us. Go out there and be a freaking country. If you're sovereign, be sovereign. Why do you don't have to sit there? It doesn't mean you go to war with other people, but be sovereign. You can be friends, but not dependent. I'll tell you, Sin, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a money-making job that pays your bills?
Yeah.
Are you dependent on any of your neighbors to take care of your bills?
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah.
No. Do you have any neighbors guarding your house, making sure you stay safe?
Oh, no, not at all.
Right. You have sovereignty over your own little 4x4 area, which hopefully is a little bit bigger than 4x4, but you understand what I'm saying.
It's 4.5 acres. Okay, give me credit.
There you go. That's the way every nation should be operating.
Mm-hmm.
We stand up for ourselves. We're going to take care of ourselves. And that doesn't mean we're at war with my next door neighbor. I love my next door neighbor.
Yeah.
But I'm not dependent on my next door neighbor. I'm able to stand on my own 2 feet, and I'm not going to come to them and say, please take care, please, that if something happens to them or they get mad at me tomorrow, that threatens my existence, which is what these nations essentially have done.
Yeah.
They're acting like children, and they've been acting like children since World War II. Since World War II, they've been dependent on us, and it's time for that gravy train to end. It's time to sort of say, you know what, this is not a healthy relationship. And this whole world market, globalization thing, it's not healthy, because eventually that apple cart's going to get upset. Not to mention that it's killing your local constituents. It's killing your own people.
Yeah, well, I mean, all these countries, it feels like they want to be a welfare state of the United States in some shape, form, or fashion. And I'm sorry, we already have California, so we don't need the rest of you guys.
This is true. This is true. In fact, there was a clip I had here. Actually, I'll work my way there as we work our way through the Davos story. But
the Davos, I'm glad I stayed away from it. I'm so happy I stayed away from it. I kept wanting to peek in. I was like, oh, I see people really like all the likes and views on stuff, and I'm like, man. And I said, no, I'm a holdout. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be like the chat. I'm gonna go in blind with Joe, which is how Joe does everything usually. So
I like it. I like it. Here's Trump basically saying the same thing over here.
Mm-hmm.
Giving his take on it.
To embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, we must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of the apocalypse.
This is actually him talking about how you have to tune out the idiots.
Are the heirs of yesterday's foolish fortune tellers, and I have them, and you have them, and we all have them. And they want to see us do badly, but we don't let that happen. They predicted an overpopulation crisis in the 1960s, mass starvation in the 70s, and an end of oil in the 1990s. These alarmists always demand the...
They also predicted that the world was going to turn into a fireball within 25 years in the 1990s.
When I was a kid, I remember being in school and they taught us about acid rain. We were all supposed to be destroyed by acid rain, which was very funny. We did an experiment with they gave us pieces of chalk and like vinegar, I think is what it was. And they were like, "Oh, this is how dangerous it is, and they made us like squirt a drop on the chalk like every day until it finally just melted away." And I was like, "All right, cool." And then it just completely disappeared by the time I was in high school, just gone.
It was even in the culture. There was an episode of Different Strokes back when it was like the most popular show on TV, where Kimberly washed her hair in a copper basin with rainwater, and her hair turned green because it was like acid rain.
Was it? Was it really? See, I didn't know that. We did that in like 2nd or 3rd grade, and within a year, like we never talked about it again. And I was like, "Wait, what? We were dying from acid rain. What happened?"
Yeah, no, don't worry about the acid rain anymore. It's not a. We fixed it.
It's not a problem. We fixed it.
We fixed
what was the other one? Hold on.
Huzzah!
What was the other one too? When I was in like kindergarten or 1st grade, it was the hole in the ozone layer, right? I remember it was something about your mom shouldn't be using hairspray so much because of a hole in the ozone layer over Australia again, that disappeared by the time I was like getting to acid rain, which was very funny. So
no, the hole in the ozone, that's people kind of realized if there was an actual hole in the ozone, like we all would have burnt up like
we'd be dead,
like in
right?
30 seconds. Yeah, like that doesn't really happen, but they just kept throwing out whatever crap they could.
Same thing, absolute power to dominate, transform, and control every aspect of our lives. We will never let radical socialists destroy our economy, wreck our country, or eradicate our liberty. America will always be the proud, strong, and unyielding bastion of freedom. To embrace.
So,
not gonna take our liberty.
That was a little clip from him speaking. He spoke for like an hour and a half at Davos, which I sort of feel as if I know Pozo knows who I am. Like I've hung out with him, Jack Posobiec. I didn't realize how religiously he watches the show. This show here.
Yeah, of course he does. I told him to start watching.
And yes, to be clear, I have not eaten the bugs. Not even that we got some comments in during the break. They said, "Did you eat any crickets?" No, I've not eaten any of the crickets. I do want to ask, folks to check. If I have just one, does that count? Or if I just try it? What if it's just a leg?
No.
If it's chocolate covered, I don't know.
Don't eat the
and
bugs.
Yes, to be clear, I have
999 is what Joe started doing.
I gotta do it like that clip of Adolf. 99999. Like Adolf in Inglourious Bastards. Yes. Well, anyway, so I told you. Apparently he must be a big fan of the show.
He has to be. Well, I mean, I did DM him recently. He was like, "Hey, Joe's a big fan, and you should probably show him some love." He's like, "Oh, I got something for him." So, you're welcome.
Trump truly is Hitlerian this time around. I don't mean he's a Nazi. He wants off a bunch of Jews. He's a highly charismatic expansionist authoritarian who will clamp down on opposition's freedom of speech and supposed free speech defenders applaud, and his free speech defenders applaud like sycophants. This is. I think this sounds like a serious critique. That we're supposed to sit here and be upset about this. This is where you're being mistaken, Siege fan. And I appreciate that he's coming here with it's a thought out comment that he's making. I just think it's thoroughly
very
misguided.
poignant. Yeah.
This is why I think you're misguided. Okay. First and foremost, is he expansionist? Yes, he is. There's a difference between being expansionist where you're sending your troops in, or being expansionist where you're basically saying, think it's in your best interest to try to find some way to work with us. He's being a capitalist. I am sure we're going to pay through the nose for whatever interest we're getting in Greenland, which we're going to explore what that is and what we know so far, which is not everything about the deal. In fact, far too little about the deal so far. But I think that's being a capitalist. frankly, every time we bought property many times in the past. We bought Florida, we bought the Louisiana Purchase, we bought lots of properties. That's happened many times in the past. And this is one that he feels is in the interest of the entire Western Hemisphere, that, hey, we're better off if we have this. Does he want the mineral earth with it? Yeah, he does. He wants the minerals from there. That's using American clout to basically say, kind of want to take this. That's very different. Adolf didn't do that. Adolf was like, I'm going to march my troops in there and kill anyone who basically imposed German rule here and wipe out your armies in the process. And then I'm going to take and raid your goods and, destroy everything. That's not, so to call expansionism like just because, he had Hitler's whole geopolitical plan was Lebensraum, which means living space for the Aryan race. That's not what he's looking. He's not looking to move Americans in there. He's not looking to take over. In that sense, he's simply looking to be capitalistic as far as getting his hands on assets that he feels betters American interests. So that's really not really very, very Hitlerian. As far as freedom, as far as opposition on freedom of speech, the freedom of speech is fine. It's not fine when you're sitting there arguably breaking the law. So when the seditious six come out there and start basically telling the military disregard Trump, or other people basically trying to subvert his influence with world leaders, that is not freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom of speech doesn't mean that you basically, I'm okay with that guy telling people around me to slit my throat. And that's essentially what he's trying. That's what Mark Kelly was doing with the other seditious six, with their stupid crap, telling the military that they should second guess themselves on every military order. And that's similar to what Gavin Newsom is doing when he goes out there and he basically is trying to encourage world leaders to play hardball and to subvert American interests. Ultimately, the determination as to what are in American interests is the call of the President of the United States. You might hate him, but you have to recognize that it is his call. So if you're a governor or a senator or member of the House, and you go out there and you're trying to subvert his interests, that is subverting American interests. That's the reality. You can talk about it on social media. You can talk about how wrong he is. That's where your freedom of speech is. When you're trying to influence directly the very people who are supposed to be effectuating or trading partners with the United States of America, and you're trying to subvert them directly, that is no longer freedom of speech. That is now someone who's actively trying to subvert American interests. It's one thing to try and change hearts and minds with your brilliant rhetoric. That's what speech is about. It's okay. It's perfectly freedom of speech to debate. When you come in here and you want to tell me that I'm wrong about something, chef's kiss, even if you think I'm an idiot, especially if you come forward with something which is, articulate and trying to make a point, the way I recognize that Seed Fan here definitely is, that I can have mad respect for you, that you have the ability to do that, and encourage you that, hey, the audience who sees the exchange becomes more enlightened by that. That's what free speech, that's what free speech absolutists are craving, that this type of dialogue. And it'd be better, even frankly, if you were sitting here talking to me. And I brought people in here all the time for that. So when Trump is silencing someone, that person he's silencing are people who are not engaging in this type of free speech. They are people who are trying to subvert the process. They're trying to subvert his authority with people that he's dealing with. That is not what free speech is for, and never was intended for. And it's a suicidal perspective on free speech, because that's free speech is to change hearts and minds, not to subvert and sandbag deals from happening. I'm going to say, hey, don't talk to the president, or military, don't listen to the president, which is suicidal. So that's the distinction there.
Also, I noticed some minerals and assets that Greenland had on Twitter that I'm glad that we're going to be possibly getting that country to be a member of the United States.
Yeah,
Miss Greenland is very attractive, and I, for one, welcome Greenland to the United States.
I, for one, welcome Greenland and our Greenland overlords. Greenlandier. Beston's comments say we're in response to an ex-post by Newsom calling him smug and out of touch. Newsom has a new post of a Sparkle Beach Ken doll. That's funny. The whole first world are really codependent. It is really destructive. Yeah. And we learned that during COVID. right? I mean, we saw how our dependence on China was so destructive.
Yeah.
It's
India
unique.
too.
Yeah, 100%. In summation, Newsom doesn't know crud about absolutely nothing but frolicking covered in Swiss chocolate without clothes with a Ricola for his sore throat after crying in shame. That's pretty much wrapping up what we saw. Over the North Pole was the hole over the ozone layer. More CO2 means for vegetation. More vegetation is more O2. All right, there you go. There's the science being brought to you. I am so mad about the hole in the ozone layer. They discontinued only asthma inhaler that really worked for me for adding to that damn hole. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the fake hole.
They took away your medicine for something that wasn't even true.
Yeah. Yeah. Liz comes on in here with a 50.
Wow, thank you so much, Liz.
God bless you, Liz. Joe. I used to live in Africa. In Africa? And my students.
Hello, Joe. I used to live in Africa, and my students would go out and capture flying ants, bring them to my little house, where we would fry them up for them to eat. So I used to eat the bugs.
I used to eat the bugs. That was very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done. I'm still not sure why you were doing a Scottish accent, but it was very good.
You can't say every accent I'm doing is Scottish.
I didn't say every accent. That one was.
Every time I do an accent, you say it's Scottish, except for the Trump one.
No, I think you once did an Austrian accent.
Thank you, chat. At least somebody around here cares about me. Come up here, get abused every day.
Trump moved the troops into Venezuela, is now trying to apply American law to the leader of another nation. Okay, so let's slow down for a second here. First of all, he didn't move troops in there. He went like Batman and basically extracted Maduro from their country. But as far as moving troops into Venezuela, that's not the same. That's not the same thing. That's not planting troops there. And as far as applying American law to the leader of another nation, I'm not sure which leader you're referring to, unless you're referring to Maduro. Which, okay, that's because the crimes he's being charged with are for offenses he did to America and Americans. So, yeah, what's he going to do? Try him in Venezuela for that?
Yeah.
Now that Greenland is done, what is Trump going to do with the Canucks? I don't know. Well, we don't know details yet about what the Greenland deal is. I really want to know what they are. I got overall breakdown, like we have references to what it is, but I really love to know a little bit more about it. Jim Fry saying, I love the fact I was born in the USA. However, I equally recognize there has never been a politician that respected my sovereignty. Go long, gold, silver, and we'll see where it goes. Well, I'll tell you this much. When I'm not sure when you say respecting your sovereignty, you as an individual, your sovereignty is going to always be subject, and it always traditionally has been subject to the ruler of the nation, right? The ruling class. If you go back hundreds of years, under the kindliest king, you were living under the good graces of the king. I mean, that's just the reality of any. There's no such thing as a successful anarchy going anywhere where you can you have your actual sovereignty, Jim, right? So, I mean, the extent of sovereignty that you can acquire is really through amassing your own wealth and carving out a little niche for yourself.
Yeah.
But your sovereignty as an individual, when I was talking about sovereignty, I was saying that Sin here next to me has, it's always going to be subject to the local governance and what. And their ability to take his freedom. That's the nature of this country being governed by being ruled by our government, and that you have in literally every civilized country. Your alternative is to go to find some uncharted island in the South Pacific and live there. But if you want to be part of a society, ultimately there's going to be some sovereign who's there, unless you kick him out. But so respecting yourself, so that's why you don't really have sovereignty. You can have liberty, and that's what I am sitting here, and screaming for our liberty. But sovereignty is not something that you really can find in society, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Every once in a while, I can get you to agree with me, so that's good.
It's not very often, but
Not very
just
often.
a
at
rare
all.
occasion. He's just not a smart man, from what I've been told.
Zelen says, Joe, since you're talking about Davos, you need to talk about the best clip in history. What is the best clip in history? I don't know what this is, but he shared the link with me here, so
Okay.
we'll see what he's referring to as the best clip in history.
It better be good.
It's a very high bar he set for himself.
But equally importantly, we're cracking down on more than $19 billion in fraud that was stolen by Somalian bandits. Can you believe
Somalian bandits?
That's to be higher IQ than we thought. So these are low IQ people. How did they go into Minnesota and steal all that money? And we have, they're pirates. They're good pirates, right? But we shoot them out of the water just like we shoot the drug boats out. They're not pirating too many boats lately. Do you notice? But equally importantly,
so there you go. That was Somalian pirates. I guess they're not too stupid. I guess he's right about that. They're not, I guess, as stupid as we thought. I think you oversold it a little bit, Uzelian. It was good. It was a good clip, worthwhile, but a little overselling. Hey, Gavin, you frolicking grease ball. You're fired. That was from Spuds. Anyhow, we haven't even gotten to the Greenland deal, which is what I want to break down here.
All right.
So this is the Greenland deal here. Based on a very productive meeting, this is what Trump shared out, where he said, based on a very productive meeting that I have had with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, we have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. This solution, if consummated, will be a great one for the United States of America and all NATO nations. Based upon this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. Additional discussions are being held concerning the Golden Dome as it pertains to Greenland. Further information will be made available as discussions progress. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and various others as needed will be responsible for the negotiations. They will report directly to me. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, it seems as if the entire rift over Greenland, Trump feels as if he got what he needed, at least in general terms, and that he's planting his flag in Greenland. I don't know if that means we're going to have ownership of it. I don't know. This is what we know about. This is what has been reported about the deal so far. So, if those of you who are wondering, what does that even mean, this deal? So initial details on the Trump-Greenland deal have emerged. It involves small pockets of land for the U.S. So we're not getting the entire continent. It's small pockets. The U.S. involved in Greenland's mineral rights. So involved in mineral rights, it really depends on what that means. So does it mean we can take minerals for free? Or does it mean we're going to get a percentage of whatever? What does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Duration of the deal has an indefinite time frame. So this could be like the whole Hong Kong 99-year thing or something like that. It sounds like a lease, right? An indefinite time frame. We're not acquiring. I don't know if we're acquiring. I don't know what it is. It's designed to block Russian influence in Greenland. The U.S. Golden Dome system will be involved. Opens door to U.S.-backed infrastructure investment.
Yeah.
And he's basically, Trump is looking to secure land, minerals, and defense all in one deal.
Yeah, there was another one too that he added that Sin gets to date Miss Greenland. That one was just added a little while ago. It's a new thing. Otherwise the deal is null and void.
So that's a key element here is that you get to date
it's for world peace. Yeah.
Is there actually a Miss Greenland?
Oh yeah, have you not seen the meme?
No.
There is a meme where Miss Greenland is in doing the bathing suit competition and it says the real reason why Trump wants Greenland. And she is gorgeous.
Oh.
She is absolutely gorgeous, and it's Trump doing the pointing and thumbs up little thing that they always put him in. Very funny. Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly.
No, I haven't seen that meme. No, I'll tell you why this is a really shrewd thing for him to be doing at this point in time. He's not going to hold on to the tariffs. The tariffs are going to be slipping through his fingers very soon. It is the shrewdest. He's basically milked something out of nothing, because we are days, weeks on the outside, months away from the Supreme Court knocking his tariffs out, and he knows this. So none of these tariffs are going to be anything. But during the limited window of time that he's able to use the tariffs to negotiate whatever he can from them, it's better than getting nothing. So the threat of the tariffs, which he knows he's going to be losing soon, because everyone's saying, look, the reality is Constitution doesn't favor your arguments here. So he recognizes that this tariffs are like this. It's basically it's a bazooka, which is going or I guess you would call it. It's a snake that he can use, that he can wield, which is dying.
Okay.
So it's like, I want to basically wield this snake, and I know that like in 6 months I can't. This snake is dead.
Yeah.
So I've got to use it now to get what I can from the threat of the snake. I was trying to just come up with some sort of, animal, which was,
I was just letting you flounder, because when you said that, I went, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And so I just let you go with it.
I could have gone with a lion or a bear, but basically
anything else would have probably been better. You did it, Joe. You did it.
No, we did it, Joe. We did it, Joe.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyhow, so the bottom line is, that's what I think is actually very shrewd about this whole thing from his end, is that he knows this is basically an animal that he's got very limited time to unleash on them as a threat to them, and he's basically milking it for whatever he can.
Got you. Yeah, I don't disagree.
So
And
thank you for pointing out the utter awkwardness of the analogy that just came out of my mouth.
I didn't
appreciate
point it
that.
out. I just let it float out there,
Some people might have just said, no, I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna let Joe keep his analogy there. But you were like, no, we're gonna go straight on. Like, no, can we just talk about the words that came out of your mouth, Joe? Can we do that? Can we talk about that right now, Joe? Can we do that? Just for a moment.
The chat was just saying, I hate snakes. I don't like snakes, over and over again. It was bad, man. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It was a okay analogy.
It was better than okay. It was a good analogy.
Slightly above average. We give you that one.
Very solid analogy. One second.
I mean, if we're going to be using an analogy of, like, I don't know, milking something, you could have used a cow or something along those lines. But, there's who am I?
A cow is not a weapon. It has to be a weapon.
Milk. Never mind.
You don't milk a
make
bull.
The analogy way worse, and I decided not to. You should have just left that one there.
Go back to talking about Miss Greenland or whatever.
I'm not Googling the beauty competition.
Oh, you're not doing that now?
Not doing that right now.
I don't. What's that? Is that her name?
Vicky Rebel Rees. Is that her name? Oh, hold on.
Apparently, you weren't the only one who heard of Miss Greenland. I thought you were totally making that up earlier.
No, not at all. She
all right.
In the swimsuit competition, she was very pretty.
We're good. We're good. Yeah. We're good.
So I'm leaving it there. Just read the super chat, will you?
Jim Fry, St. Pozel. No one in the U.S. wants data centers in their backyard, so put them all in Greenland and build requisite nuke plants. U.S. has no electrical infrastructure to support AI. Win-win.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like it. I like it. Requisite nuke plans. No one wants. It's true. No one wants to have that stuff in our backyard. That's pretty good idea. I like it. Use as our little. We could turn Greenland into New Jersey.
So, a hellhole? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, New Jersey was traditionally like New York's dumping ground. Like they were like, it's like all the plants that no one wanted, like the tanning and rendering and basically the stench that no one wanted. Those plants always ended up in New Jersey, so we can basically use Greenland in that way, where it's like, yeah, let's just drop our garbage off over there.
Mhm.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's actually a very good idea that Jim's coming up with. Well done, Jim.
Way to go, Jim. Good job.
So SCOTUS will make the U.S. pay back all the money taken by tariffs. Is going to crush the U.S. economy. No, he's not going to make it pay it back. He'll just say that you have to terminate them going forward. That's what, assuming he loses, they are likely to say that his tariffs are no longer valid. Not that you have to, no, they wouldn't be saying they're void. What you're talking about is void ab initio. That's not happening. That's not happening. The money spent is money spent. They're talking about the ability to keep the tariffs on, even going forward in the future. So, and he knows that that's probably going away. Dan Vicious says, "Enable your Rumble tip jar." What? What does that mean?
I think the ghetto was yelling at you earlier. I ignored them. I didn't want to, but I felt like I would give it a shot, and I didn't like it. I don't see how you do it. They're fine people over there.
What is a Rumble tip jar?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to Rumble when I'm streaming.
What does that mean?
Ask the ghetto about it.
Chuck Fat says, "How is it that people still do not understand Trump negotiation skills? Trump says we're taking Greenland. He always starts with the most drastic position. 6 months later, U.S. gets what Trump wants." Yep. Every single time. Every single time. And people just don't get it. They don't realize it. I just realized, and people just don't get it. They don't realize it. Oh my gosh, stop it. I just realized, and people just, I'm just trying to kill it.
You're just trying to get done with it, yeah.
I was trying to check to see whether we made our goal, which I will say. That's my new thing now. When we hit the goal, I see we hit the goal. We call goal. So we did hit our goal tonight, which means I am going to be covering Trump versus what's her stupid name? Cook. Lisa Cook.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be spending the third hour here covering that. Anyhow, good job, guys. Awesome job. What were you saying? Were you saying something important?
I haven't said anything important in years.
Okay. I'm glad we covered that. Oh, guys says U.S. will be sued in international court to pay back the illegal tariffs, and that will crush the economy. Sorry, I didn't show all the dominoes falling. SCOTUS rules against the administration. International Court of Justice, ICJ. I don't think that would happen. I don't think that would happen because they're not going to say it's void ab initio. That's void ab initio means like void from the get go. They just say like, no, his tariffs are not good. I don't think that the international court is going to be suing the United States. I don't think any of those things are at all remotely likely to happen. It would be shocking.
Yeah.
You think that Japan is going to be suing us?
I can't think of anybody that would.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then who are they suing on behalf of? Like, who is the standing? So you're going to have this commercial guy, this exporter who's sending stuff in here. It's just not going to work. I don't think it's likely. I'm not worried about that. Okay, so there you go. I think we covered Greenland. I think I can move on from there.
All right.
I can move on from there. I have a lot of other stuff I want to cover. I'm going to jump in real quick because I want to get this out of the way. You remember Bill Clinton?
I remember that guy. Yeah.
You heard of him, right?
Once or twice, I think he done something big in like the '90s or something like that. Sort of a big deal, I think.
Bill Malugan reported, per colleague Chad Pergram, the House Oversight Committee has just voted to hold former President Bill Clinton in contempt of Congress for ignoring a committee subpoena to give a deposition regarding the Epstein investigation. Vote was 34-8 with 2 present. 9 Democrats voted with the GOP committee. Also voted to hold Hillary Clinton in contempt. The resolutions now go to the House for a full contempt of Congress vote. If House passes those resolutions with a simple majority, it will be referred to the DOJ for potential criminal prosecution. So basically, now it's going to go, and the vote there on Hillary was 28-15. A whole bunch of Democrats signed on board and said, yeah, they should be held in contempt.
I love how Hillary got more. Wait, 15 Democrats said, yeah, go ahead and bring her in for contempt. Is that what it was?
Oh, fewer. No, more went after Bill.
After Bill, okay, I see what you mean.
It was 34-8.
Yeah, 28-15, okay.
28-15 saying to go after Hillary.
Imagine Hillary bragging about that. More people like me, Bill. You're the president, but they know what I do.
Is James Comer talking about the vote and the next steps in the process? He's the head. He's the head of the Oversight Committee.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Today was a big day for accountability. I'm very proud of the work the Oversight Committee has done thus far on the Epstein investigation. I'm very happy that we had a bipartisan vote today to hold the Clintons in contempt of Congress. And this shows that no one's above the law. And I'm just real proud of the committee and look forward to hopefully getting the Epstein documents in very quickly and trying to get answers for the American people. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. All right. Well, thank you.
So there you go. January 21, 2026. That is your date when the committee basically said we need to hold the Clintons in contempt. So there's 2 more steps that we need here before we need to get a vote from the House.
Mm-hmm.
It does not need to be approved by Congress, by Senate. It's just the House. And then the House can refer it over to the DOJ and they can press charges.
All right.
Do you think they will?
Ooh. I'm going to vote yes. I'm going to say yes. I think they're going to go, you know what? Like, I think they have to now, especially with those numbers.
I'm going to ask you're saying that it's like bipartisan that they should.
Yeah, you had enough Democrats to me that it looks bipartisan. So, yeah.
Do you think Pam
Comer is not
will prosecute the Clintons if referred by the House? She could be looking at, I think they'd be looking at up to, I don't remember if it's a year or 5 years. I don't remember. Off the top of my head. Just making this a yes or no. Do you think Pam Bondi will prosecute the Clintons for ignoring subpoena if referred by the House? And I'm checking out Rumble also for you guys to weigh in on that. Do you think that it's going to happen? Do you think so? Dan Vicious gifting 1 subscription to Good Logic. God bless you, brother. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I personally believe, I don't know what Rumble Wallet is. He keeps saying Rumble Wallet. I don't know what that is. I have a Rumble Wallet. That's what I'm feeling so ignorant right now.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. I see that yesterday's show. I rated Nick Rekieta when I was done.
Look at that, big time.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure. Jim Fry says 64-year-old watch this parlay for decades. If you are not protected with gold, silver in hand, what are you thinking? This is the fourth turning. You are a player on a chessboard. Chaos is assured. I'll tell you this much. I'm shocked that I have not yet been approached by anyone to sell gold on my channel.
Have you not been?
No.
Oh, bro, you would have been one of the first people. Well, there's a history with you guys selling gold and coins and stuff. There's
who? No. I defy you to tell me who would be a better person to sell gold. I mean, I guess maybe Ben Shapiro. I mean, who would be a better person to sell gold? Who?
I mean, I agree.
And I don't know if Ben would do it. I think he'd be worried about the stereotype. But I am.
You don't care about the stereotype at all.
I love the stereotype. Not the stereotype. I don't know if I make a living here. I love the stereotype. No, I have no problem with that. No, so I don't even understand. American Eagle, what the hell is wrong with you? Where are you?
Yeah, what are you guys doing right now?
Where are you going? And I happen to actually, gold is a product that I actually really believe in. I think it is the safest. It's easier to acquire. It's easier to acquire than real property, which is arguably a safer investment. But I think gold is. You can make a claim that gold is even safer than real property.
Yeah, because gold can't be taken from you in like eminent domain or anything like that.
No, it's also real estate prices sometimes come crashing down. I mean, I guess gold could come crashing down also. But
when you look at the money aspect of it, right? Gold can go crashing down, so can real estate prices. Both are items that they're not making any more of ever again. You just can't do it, right? Like
they are discovering more gold. So, but
you can discover more gold. But I'm saying the biggest thing with gold being safer is that you have like government regulations and stuff on real property. Eminent domain is a real thing.
It's been traditionally the safest bet against hyperinflation.
Agreed.
So, when inflation goes skyrocketing, gold has been precious metals have been the way to secure your wealth. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I would be great at it. This should happen. People at American Eagle. This one's a freebie. This is a freebie that I mentioned you a couple of times here. Okay, this is a freebie. Next time, come on. Who are you talking to here?
I mean, pull back the desperation a bit, just a little, just a hair, right?
Now the teeth and claws of Trump are pulled. All bark, no bite. Really? And then the middle term will be lost by Republican majority. Will be lost come January 1, 2027. The red wave is done. Cold dish of revenge. EU will not forget either. International Court of Justice. I'm telling you, you're mistaken. I really disagree with you on this. Look, we're both grown here, but you're telling me here, and I'll give you the horn. But we have no idea what's going to happen in the midterms. No idea. We're not going to have any idea about where the midterms may be headed until October of next year. And even then, probably everyone who predicts these things has been so wrong that I think it's crazy early to try to predict what's going to happen in the midterms. I will admit that historically, midterms tend to favor the House, the party that's not in control of the White House. That is true historically, and there's such a narrow lead that logic says the safest bet is that Democrats will take the House, but it's way too early to know anything about that. And I don't think that I think the EU were a bunch of pussies, and no one cares about the International Court of Justice. They're not going to do anything to Trump. even if he doesn't have the House, or even if he would lose the House and Senate, they do not have the cojones to do anything to Trump. They're a bunch of losers. They're a bunch of wusses.
Bunch of nerds.
They're a bunch of losers. And that's what I'm saying. They're not doing anything to Trump. The EU is not going to, all they might do is, pass some new law, like allowing 7-year-olds to engage in coitus. That's all the EU can. They're just a bunch of sick, twisted losers who have no backbone to them. They have no backbone. So no, I'm not worried about them. There are some individuals who I'm sure have plenty of backbone, but when you talk about their governments are losers. Who would pee their pants watching Hillary do a perp walk of shame in orange juice? That would be amazing. I don't think we're ever gonna, I don't know if we'll ever see that, because they would likely have to be convicted in DC. You really want to go after them in upstate New York. I brought this up the other day. I cannot imagine seeing a jury convict Hillary, or in DC, a DC jury convict Hillary or Bill. I just cannot even imagine that ever happening, which is why really what they want to do is they really want to go after them in upstate New York where they live. And they say, this is where you stay. This is where we're prosecuting you. And try, because in upstate New York, you can get that jury, but not in DC.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Rumble Wild's cryptocurrency, Joe, change into money. Oh, it is? What does that mean?
I have no clue.
I'm feeling so, I don't know what everyone's trying to say to me here. I don't even know what they're all trying to say to me. There's no cryptocurrency through Rumble. What does that even mean?
Are they saying that Rumble has its own coin now? I don't know anything about that.
I'm trying to just have the slightest idea as to what the heck they're talking about. I'm like looking at my account settings, manage subscriptions. Let me see. I'm managing my subscriptions.
Aren't you supposed to be the young guy, Sin? Somebody said in the chat. Yeah, but how do I say this? Rumble is for DOS boomers.
Yeah, I don't have a Rumble Premium. I don't even know what the heck I'm looking at this. I can't figure out.
Also, I don't run my own Rumble channel. It is I gave it to a co-host has it. I let him collect all the money from it. So whatever he does over there, he can have. Boom.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at here. I'm very confused by Rumble. It's the most confusing thing in the world. Comer flew to New York at their request to meet. They really sent a rep and wanted a deal to appear virtually, closed session. He told them to go pound sand. So maybe they can get it in New York. Maybe they can have enough jurisdiction in New York to say, we don't want to bring this case in DC. We want to bring it in the Northern District of New York. That'd be great. Maybe, who knows? I'm sure they know this. They're not stupid. They know they're not going to get conviction in DC. So I got a bunch of other stories to flesh out my time here before I get to that third story. I want to share something with you. I want to share with you, Sin, something.
Yes, sir.
The cringiest.
Ooh.
The cringiest.
Okay.
Question and answer that I think I might have ever seen. This is a Democrat senatorial hopeful from New Hampshire. Her name is Karishma Manzoor. Karishma Manzoor. And she was on a show where she was asked a question, and her answer is so awkward and cringy that you're going to love this, because she's a crazy leftist. She's an insane leftist, and she looks so uncomfortable trying to answer this question. Because she's called to abolish ICE. And that's what she's asked about in this interview.
So abolish ICE, yes or no? You said it on X. You said abolish ICE.
We should absolutely defund ICE. Yes.
So what happens next? How do you enforce the border? How do you enforce
We have a CBP, yes. Customs and Border Patrols. We have a Customs and Border Patrol. We should absolutely give them the right amount of funding. We have to do this, and we have to, if the law enforcement is an issue, if there crimes are an issue in certain cities, then let's use the funding to send those federal dollars back to the states, to our local police. Why create another extra law and order system which is not really enforcing law?
What's the difference?
So she's like swallowing, trying to like explain what she's thinking, like what the plan is. So we're gonna send the money back to the states. If the crime is a problem, then let's send law and order back to the what? We have CBP. So what does that have to do with removing people who are here? That has nothing to do with that. CBP, that's for border crossers. That's not for people who are anywhere else in the country. But she looks so uncomfortable when she's trying to answer these questions.
Between saying abolish ICE and saying,
why create another extra law and order system which is not really enforcing law?
what's the difference between saying abolish ICE and saying defund the police?
I never said defund the police.
No, but what's the difference between those two sentiments?
The police force I believe in. The law and order system I believe in.
What is the difference?
What's the difference, ma'am?
What's
the difference?
Explain to us what the difference is. Well, this I believe in. Why? Why do you believe in this, not the other one?
Well, I don't like the color of their uniforms. Take that, party pants. How do you like that?
There is a federal law saying that they're not supposed to be here. They're supposed to be removed. So they're breaking the law. Like, why is that different?
Yeah, but have you seen they wear green? Take that.
We have a law enforcement system. ICE is not law enforcement. ICE is not law enforcement. Please, let us not.
So what happens when you abolish ICE? What happens to those 20,000 officers?
That's not the question. The question is what happens to those 20 million illegals? That's the real question. What happens with them?
What happens to them? Actually, let's talk about who those agents are. Do we even know who they are? Why are they always covering up their faces? Are they coming from, are they January 6th insurrectionists? Are they?
What? She's like, oh, no, we have no idea who they are. We have the hiring agency, the federal government has no idea who they are. All of a sudden, people just rolled on in here. We geared them up, gave them the uniforms, the face masks. We have no clue. We have no idea who they are. We're trying to figure it out. There's a whole investigative team which is trying to figure out who they are. What the hell is?
They don't have badge numbers or nothing. We don't even know.
We don't even know. No one knows who they are.
No one knows who these guys. They're just rogue people. It's like Batman running around.
They just came in here fresh out of January 6th, and we just rolled them on in. They are January 6th.
These are just all the people that were locked up in solitary confinement.
Maybe they're illegal aliens.
Banner.
Maybe
they've decided to take to the streets.
Maybe they're illegal aliens who like snuck in here.
You don't even know if it's illegal aliens fighting other illegal aliens.
We're totally undocumented ICE agents.
Undocumented ICE agents is the craziest.
We don't know. How can we know?
Ma'am, don't y'all pay them a paycheck? Yeah, but that's besides the point.
We don't know.
Man.
How can we possibly know who they are?
Are they Proud Boys? Are they coming out of? Why are they always covering up their faces?
Why? Can we please? The Proud Boys have not been a serious thing in society for damn near a decade at this point.
Are they 3%ers?
The lack of 3%ers. The Proud Boys had a little flame up for January 6th, but years before then, and ever since January 6th, nobody talks about the Proud Boys. Nobody, ma'am.
Oh my God,
we have no boogeyman anymore.
We have no idea who they are.
Are they coming from? Are they January 6th insurrectionists? Are they Proud Boys? Are they coming out of 4chan? Are they coming out of some extremist?
Coming out of 4chan! It's the 4chan memers now, ma'am. I use 4chan. I'm telling you.
Maybe
it's not
us. Do they have tattoos? That little Pepe frog on their arms?
Little Pepe frog. Do we know? Do we even know?
Do you know? No, do you know? Can you say that they don't? You don't know.
Do we know if they were on that social media site Chive? You heard about that one, huh? You seen how dangerous that site is?
Do we know? Do we even know?
We don't know anything.
How can we get to the bottom of this?
Jesus, man. The Proud Boys. Are we serious?
We don't know.
Oh, you said this was cringy, but
Are they?
This is wild.
Are they centaurs? We don't know.
Are they centaurs? We haven't seen their legs. They're wearing pants.
Can you? Yeah, exactly. They're wearing pants all the time.
Are they Mr. Tumnus from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
We don't know.
We have no clue.
We don't know. Yeah, they got the mask. They're hiding the antlers there. We don't know.
Hiding the antlers. They're hiding the hooves. Like, what are we supposed to do about that?
Unbelievable.
We're being invaded by Chronicles of Narnia now.
Boys, are they coming out of 4chan? Are they coming out of some extremist group? This is very concerning.
Very concerning. It's
4chan is just wild. Like, that is a crazy statement to make. Are they coming out of 4chan?
Are they coming out of Kiwi farms? What's the deal? Yeah. We need to know what's going on with that.
Is that what they're doing? Are they trolling people online right now? We don't know. Are they? We have no clue who these people are. Oh my!
It's so good. There's a whole bunch of groypers there in ICE.
Enforcement officers have so much power over us and deserve so much respect from us. They're highly trained, they're respectful, they're heavily armed.
Are you talking? You're saying ICE is highly trained? What are you trying to say? ICE is highly trained and respectful and heavily armed. They deserve our respect.
They have government-issued weapons. Which government gave them to them? Us? Canada? Who knows? We don't know.
Who knows? How do we get to the bottom of this?
They're heavily armed. Yes, ma'am. They're called a police force. They're literally. I can't. What in the world is this woman smoking?
I don't even know at this point if she's talking about the police or she's talking about ICE. I don't know what she's talking about at this point.
About 4chaners.
Her brain is like going around in like all sorts of different crazy circles. Like I literally have no idea at this point whether she knows if when she says they're respectful, they're highly trained. Is she saying ICE is highly trained? What is she saying?
They should be highly trained. She looks like one of the fish people from SpongeBob, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there for anybody in the audience that if you want to just
I don't know what that. I don't know what that is.
I'm just saying. There's people in the audience that'll know. Don't worry about it. It's not for you. It's for other people. But this is wild.
Yeah.
Have so much power over us and deserve so much respect from us. They're highly trained. They're respectful. They're heavily armed.
None of this sounds like things that.
Are you talking about ICE or the 4chaners or the regular cops now, ma'am? Okay, ma'am, look, let me explain something to you. Okay, if you're mentioning, like, you've mentioned 4 or 5 groups plus the regular police, and if you're in a conversation, you now need to tell us who you're now talking about, because am I supposed to respect a 4chaner who is heavily armed right now, or the police or the Proud Boys? Because I'll tell you what, I don't know about the Proud Boys so much. All right,
nobody knows what she's talking about.
I'm not that into breakfast cereals, is all I'm saying. Okay.
So she looks like she's trying to figure out what the hell she's supposed to say next. You can see like this is her look of like, wait, was I talking about ICE or police?
So much power over us and deserve so much respect from us. They're highly trained, they're respectful, they're heavily armed, and yet they're not covering up their faces. They have badges on with their names and the insignia telling us which force they're coming from. What is ICE is covering their faces?
So now she was talking about the police, right? I guess like that's what. All right. I guess I it's so confusing. Why is ICE because you send out lunatics to dox them and harass them. That's why they're covering their faces. You all know that. You all know that's why. Everyone knows that's why they're covering their faces.
Acting thuggish, dragging people out of the cars.
Acting thuggish.
ICE is not law enforcement.
Are you saying that to maintain employment that they face an ideological test?
That's not what she said. I don't know what this guy's asking her. This guy is like, he's sort of clownish. Also, what? That's not at all what she's saying. She's just saying she doesn't want ICE, period. But like, I guess he's saying like if they were your people, would that be okay? Like if they faced an ideological test, would that be okay? I guess that's what he's trying to ask. I don't know. Like his concern is their employment. That's also a weird question. This is like the most everything about this entire exchange to me, it was just purely cringe.
You'd have to find out what they believe.
Again, let's talk about, okay, what is going on in Minnesota is terrorizing folks. So I don't want to spend a lot of time just talking about ICE at the moment. I actually want to talk about what's going on across the country.
Well, this is the idea.
Well
if you're the nominee,
yes.
Then, I mean, there are going to be attack ads that
Yes.
say she wants to abolish ICE and fire 20,000 law enforcement officers.
But
You may
that's
not think it's
twisting the
fair,
news.
but
That's twisting the story.
That's the attack ad.
Yeah. I hope she's the candidate. Oh my God. Although honestly, Senator Hirono got in there, so maybe we should be careful what we wish for. You may end up getting it. Guys says they shut down the World 2020 COVID. Who? 80% took the poke juice. Was it really 80%?
No, there's no way. Of the WHO? I mean, the World Health Organization? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
80% of the population you think took the juice?
No.
What
Wait, hold on.
percent?
They
what
shut down the
percent-
world 2020 for COVID. World Health Organization, 80% took the poke. Do we have a decision from SCOTUS?
SCOTUS? Nope.
There's
I
no way
think
80%
like
took
you.
it though. I don't think.
Nothing we put his is not. Thus saith the Lord. Just thus thinking, me and you. You and me. I think he said we're just speculating. I'm telling you now. I personally don't see any scenario where the International Court of Justice plays any role in Donald Trump's life, or in the life of like our economy. I cannot even imagine a set of scenarios. To me, like I cannot even imagine a scenario where the International Court of Justice has any influence on your life, or mine, or Donald Trump's. So now I am curious though, since he brings it up, the 80% took the poke juice. What percent of the Western world do you think took the jab? Got the jab?
40% to 60%.
She's like around half the world.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Maybe. I do think, yeah. You're saying more than like 1 billion people have taken it.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, 100%.
More than 2 billion.
Yeah. No.
Not more than 2 billion.
Not more than 2 billion. It's more between 1 and 2, I would say.
Now I'm very curious. Now I want to ask Grok what Grok thinks. Because I'm now very curious. Let's ask Grok what Grok thinks. It's just once in a while someone will say something that just piques my curiosity.
Ooh.
Hey Grok, can you estimate what number of people in the entire world took any form of COVID vaccination?
Checking latest COVID vaccine stats.
It's high. It's very high. We're way off.
Around 5.8 to 5.9 billion people worldwide have gotten one dose of a COVID vaccine. That's roughly 70 to 71% of the global population.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, it adds up fast when you think about it. Pretty huge effort globally.
Okay, Grok. That's enough. All right. We don't need to. I don't need you to respond after that. Okay. All right. Sassy.
That's a crazy high number. That is a crazy high number. Wow. 5.9 billion people.
Yeah, that blew my mind when I pulled that up for sure.
I'm feeling particularly special right now. Also from guys. DHS, CBP, USBP, all the border, customs and ports of entry, HSI, and ICE are the interior immigration law enforcement. Yep. ICE, immigration and customs enforcement, HSI, Homeland Security investigations. She is an idiot. Of course she is. that's what made it worthwhile. That's what made it worth our time. If she actually sounded like she had some sort of brain on her, then I would sit here arguing, and that's much less fun. Masked ICE agents, what about mass protesters? Yeah, that's a fair question. They want to take their face, they want to take their masks off? Because they always come in masked. They've come in masked for years and years and years. They're always masked. So, yeah. And I think turnabout is fair play. Dan Vicious says, I'm a machine operator in Wisco making $20 an hour buying silver at 32 ounces for the past few years. It's tripled in value now. I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has. So that's why he's able to afford gifting you people. See that? That's why he's been investing in precious metals. I will say this with respect to ICE efforts. This was kind of a funny thing that Blue Lives Matter put out. We're not saying that Blue Lives Matter was behind feeding false information to far-left anti-ICE protesters. We're not saying we had teams comprised of hundreds of off-duty cops and veterans volunteer to run decoy operations so far-left activists thought they were conducting ICE raids. We're not saying they were just driving around in what appeared to be unmarked vehicles with tinted windows, drinking coffee, and listening to Guns N' Roses, being chased down and surrounded by protesters. What we are saying is that if it did happen, it sure worked remarkably well in 9 different states, allowing actual raids to successfully take place unimpeded, helping support the capture of hundreds of criminals. Combat veterans, off-duty police, off-duty officers, and patriotic Americans have had enough of the radical left and are being activated across the country to back our law enforcement. And they're smarter, more skilled, more driven, better trained than the left, and actually enjoy sitting in a deer stand for days on end just waiting. That is something I hadn't thought about at all. And that, assuming that it has happened, which that's certainly what Blue Lives Matter wants you to think has happened.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant. There's a report that Matt Walsh put out where he had some a couple of his producers basically join some of these anti-ICE chats to break down what is happening and try and find out where the money's coming from. And he actually had a pretty good report that it's like an hour-long report that I spent like at least 40 minutes on. And breaking down basically how they operate. And he basically says how they, set up teams on Signal, and they have a whole whistle code to how, what type of whistling you should do and get your whistle. He says they're so stupid that they assume that many of their followers don't know how to use a whistle. They have instructions how to use a whistle.
Jesus.
And that, short blasts, you should use 3 short blasts if there's ice that are in the area, and long blasts if they're in the middle of engaging and taking out, removing people, and that they have their whole code worked out. But he said that, you see how they mobilize to an area where someone's supposed to report what they call the salute method, where they're supposed to basically identify where the people are, the location, and put it, how many the number of ICE, what type of activity they're engaged in, and they're supposed to just basically report it in this Signal thing. And then folks are like, oh, okay, I'm there, I'm on my way there, or whatever, and basically try and get teams of people to whatever location ICE is, they're thinking ICE is raiding. And the reason I bring this up in this context, because he mentioned that every time that they had something like this, that he, in the 2 or 3 days that they've been in there, it's like a report which ends up being like a false alarm. He's like, there's one of the reports is there's a plain vehicle with tinted windows which was seen idling near a restaurant. So put the word out. Let's get in there and box them in. He's like, that makes it highly suspicious. He's like, think about what they're saying. A car with tinted windows idling, that's highly suspicious. So let's all box this guy in there and whoever it is, and it probably is a bunch of cops sitting there listening to Guns N' Roses, and really screwing around with them just to have them spinning their wheels. If I was a cop, like,
to set up decoys all over the place.
If I was a cop, I would have so much fun joining in these things.
Yeah,
and reporting on myself. I think I saw someone by this.
Yeah,
I think I saw a car there, and just watch all of them flock on down. Just flock on down to me. Like, it's almost like, you sort of like you leave your windows rolled up, have them all like pounding on your car. Like, yeah, I would totally do that. That would be so much fun. So I think that Blue Lives Matter is probably accurate there in their assessment as to what is what's going on there. So I thought I'd share that with you all. All right. I will tell you that my audience here, which was very engaged tonight,
you're welcome.
They're taking you. What can I say? They were very engaged tonight, and I promised them that if we hit our goal, which we hit relatively early tonight, that we were going to be covering the case of Trump versus Lisa Cook. And do you know anything about this case?
No, I haven't looked into it at all.
Okay, well, she's the member of the Federal Reserve Board who Trump wanted fired. He said that this woman she gots to go. And this is
how many times have anybody from the Federal Reserve ever been removed? I can't think of any.
Oh, no, it happens. It does happen. The question is whether or not Trump has the authority to remove her. That's really the question.
Oh, technically, no, they're not a government entity, but
are they?
Technically, no.
Well, all right. So, I guess we'll start with an Epoch Times thing here, which says key takeaways from Supreme Court hearing on Trump Fed firing. The justice weighed how their decision would impact the economy and Federal Reserve's independence. This is something that really, when I saw this bothered me, because I don't think it is for a Supreme Court justice to be weighing how their decision would impact the economy. Their job is to follow the Constitution and to apply statutes properly, where appropriate. Their job is not to be sitting there trying to, as an economist, trying to figure out what's going to happen with the economy. That should not be a factor. It should not be anything that these justices are even thinking about. They're not trained in that. They're not experts in that. And frankly, most economists suck at being economists. So, and invariably make terrible, awful, backward, how could you be so wrong kind of predictions. So as far as, trying to figure out the impact on the economy is an astonishingly bizarre position for the Supreme Court to be taking. But the Supreme Court seemed poised on January 21st to allow Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook to remain in office despite the president's attempt to fire her. President Donald Trump alleged that Cook engaged in mortgage fraud that disqualified her from having so much control over monetary policy. After a lower court blocked his attempt to fire Cook, Trump filed an appeal that eventually made its way to the Supreme Court. It arrived at the Supreme Court's emergency docket, meaning that the justices considered a more tentative decision that would cause Cook to either remain in place or leave as additional litigation unfolded. During oral arguments, which I'm going to open that up. And then, oh, Christ. The justice considered a wide range of questions, such as whether Cook would receive due process and how the decision would impact the economy. Again, I don't know. Due process? Yeah, that's totally your domain. Decisions impacting the economy? I don't understand why. In emergency docket cases like this one, the Supreme Court generally doesn't issue final rulings on narrow legal questions. Instead, they weigh multiple factors, such as who is most likely to win the underlying argument and who would be most harmed by the decision as litigation continues. One of those factors, where the decision is in the public's interest, was mentioned by multiple justices. We have amicus briefs from economists who tell us that if we grant your stay, it could trigger a recession, Justice Amy Coney Barrett told U.S. Solicitor General John D. Sauer. How should we think about the public interest in a case like this? The proper answer is utterly disregard. Utterly disregard, the same way if you had a medical expert who was weighing in on what the economy would say, you would disregard that. Say it so too here, because you're not sitting here trying to second guess whether or not he's making the right economic decision. You don't get to make economic decisions. What that's not a factor.
Yeah.
The question is, does he have the legal right to do this? Is it the right decision to fire her? Maybe she's the most brilliant economist in the world, and it's terribly backward to do that. That's got no factor on the law, whether he has the authority to do it. So that's what he should have said. She appeared to be referring to briefing from experts who indicated the Supreme Court decision could disrupt the economy by undermining perception of the Federal Reserve's independence. Quote, we know that the independence is very important, and that the independence is harmed if we decide these issues too quickly and with not due consideration. Okay, another decision should be, let's say you think it's economically advantageous to close down the Fed. Would you say that you have the authority to decide to close the Fed? Now, I think the Fed should be closed.
Yeah.
I wish they would
agree.
close the Fed. But
Yeah, 100%. The Fed's a terrible idea for America.
Awful.
It's ruined our economy. 100% ruined our economy.
So waiting to me to have at least the lower courts look at these issues first makes the most sense to public confidence and the world's confidence about the due process of law. About the confidence in the due process of law. What the hell? The January 21st oral arguments were just the latest flashpoint in ongoing legal battles over Trump's attempts to fire prominent public officials. While the justices have indicated willingness to back Trump's firings for certain agencies, they seem more reluctant when it came to the Federal Reserve. As the United States central banking system, the Federal Reserve sets monetary policy with impacts that ripple through the economy. The hearing came as Trump has publicly disagreed with Chair Jerome Powell over the policy. Meanwhile, the Justice Department started investigating Powell over his Senate Banking Committee testimony in June 2025 concerning the renovation costs for the Federal Reserve office buildings. During oral arguments, Justice Brett Kavanaugh suggested that the Justice Department was proposing a legal theory that would make it too easy to fire governors like Cook. Why? Why is this such a hard thing to do? I don't understand. More specifically, he suggests that Sarah wasn't allowing enough judicial checks on the president's firings. When you have Brett Kavanaugh saying this and Amy Coney Barrett asking questions like that, so I'll remind you that the composition of our Supreme Court is 3 left, 2.5 to 3 right. The 3 left are KBJ, Sotomayor, Kagan, always going to go against Trump. Then you have the 3 on the right, which are Alito and Thomas, and usually Gorsuch. He's like 85% reliable. Every once in a while, you'd be like, really? Where'd you go today? But 80 to 85% of the time, he's reliable. And then you got these 3 wafflers in the middle, which is our Chief Justice Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh. And they decide every decision because it's 3 against 3, and then those 3 basically break the tie.
Yeah.
So we really have a 3-court bench. That's what it is. And when these 3, so that's why it's significant that's Amy Coney Barrett saying, well, should we be thinking about what the economists say? That's what a globalist says. That's what your classic neocon says. That's what Amy Coney Barrett says. And Brett Kavanaugh is another one of them that it's like, if you lose ACB and Brett Kavanaugh, you lost.
Yeah.
And if Kavanaugh is saying that it makes it too easy to fire governors like Cook, yeah, Trump's not winning this case. That would weaken, if not shatter, the independence of the Federal Reserve. Well, I don't know why we have an independent Federal Reserve. I don't even understand what the point is. But Justice Alito suggests the process had rushed forward after allegations surfaced that Cook may have committed mortgage fraud before joining the Fed. Quote, when this was before the executive branch, it was handled in a very cursory manner, he said. After that, the case progressed in a hurried manner and was being handled by everybody, including the executive branch, federal district court, and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Although Sauer offered a factual basis for Cook's removal, Alito said no court has ever explored those facts. So that would really be a factual question. Justice KBJ suggested to Paul Clement, that's Paul Clement, and by the way, Paul Clement is someone who's argued in front of the Supreme Court probably hundreds of times. He's a hired gun. He'll go to either side. Sometimes he argues for the left, sometimes he argues for the right. But he's considered like, he's one of the 10 most common attorneys to argue in front of them, if not 5 most. So Lisa Cook got herself like, she got herself someone's considered a ringer for oral arguments. So Brown Jackson suggested to Paul Clement, Cook's attorney, that his client was entitled to some kind of determination of the facts of the case, and that hadn't happened here. A hearing was needed to establish the facts, such as when Cook signed the mortgage applications and what she thought she was agreeing to. Barrett told Sauer the government had already spent a lot of time litigating Cook's case and suggesting it might have been better to put those resources into holding a hearing on her removal. So now Neil Gorsuch is asking, so now you're saying we need to have a hearing. Well, what kind of hearing is she entitled to get? Should the Supreme Court find she's entitled to one? So if you're saying she's supposed to get one, that's what the other people on the left are saying. Gorsuch asked if it would be legally sufficient to summon Cook to the Roosevelt Room of the White House, allow the presentation of evidence by a lawyer, and then render a decision. Who says it has to be in front of a judge? Like, why can't it be, make your case to me? Come into the Oval Office, make your case to me. What kind of hearing do you need? So Sauer said the situation would be entirely up to the executive branch to decide how to conduct such a hearing. Just because the word cause appears in the Federal Reserve Act doesn't mean Cook was entitled to notice in a hearing, he said. He added that if Congress wanted to create such a requirement, it could have said so. So when Congress first created the Federal Reserve, they said there has to be notice in a hearing, but they didn't specify what kind of hearing. And a hearing could be literally the president sitting down and listening to her and making a decision. He could sit there as judge, jury, and executioner, the way the statute's written. Elena Kagan asked Sauer if his position meant that there's no notice and hearing requirement. That all the president must do is to inform Cook she's fired. Sauer said the president still had to provide a cause, and that it had to relate to Cook's conduct, fitness, sufficiency, or competence. We concede, and by the way, if you never heard Sauer before,
no.
His voice sounds like RFK when you hear him talk.
No. Oh, come on, man.
I'm gonna dig it up. But he said, but he conceded that it cannot be for policy disagreement or for no reason at all. That under the statute, there has to be for a cause. So John Roberts asked Sauer why, if the government is correct in saying that the courts lack authority to reinstate or remove the officer like Cook, the justices were wasting our time wondering if there's cause or not, meaning if she's out. So why would we be sitting here thinking about this? Sauer said he shared that concern, and that since 1789, the courts have recognized that the president has the power to order interim or suspensory removals. So, yeah, that's a good question. But frankly, the president, since we had a constitution in 1789, he's been able to fire whoever the hell he wants. It's pretty much,
especially the Fed, though. I mean, the Fed's only been around a very short time in American history.
Like a century or so. It's roughly a century.
Yes, I mean So it's only been around a century, and I mean, have we ever really? I don't think we've ever really done any major things to the Fed to really test the limits of this entity that is, wrapped around us right now. It is.
Yeah,
we should end the Fed. It's terrible for our economy. It's terrible for our country. It's disgusting that we have this thing, and every time you hear them talk about it, they go, "Well." We're not a part of the government. We're technically its own little subsection, and we control everything. Your everyday life is touched by it. There's nothing you don't do that it's not touched by. It's just like oil, for example. There's nothing you don't do throughout your day that is not touched by that also. So we just need to get away from it. Be done with it. It's disgusting.
I'm trying to find oral argument here, like so we can actually listen to them. I'm trying to find it and struggling to find it. So here it is.
Going from Martin against Mott through Dalton against Specter and beyond.
That's not. No, that's RFK. Stop it. You're I almost said it. You're messing with me. That's RFK.
That's him.
No, okay. I can't take these people seriously.
Yeah, that's him. So, but he's actually a very, very good lawyer. He's another one. He and Paul Clement have probably squared off against each other dozens of times because he's another one who's like top 10 most frequent arguers in front of the Supreme Court. I'm gonna be listening to some of these oral arguments with you fine people, but I'm gonna let Sin get on out of here because I think he needs to he's got to take care of some stuff. And
thank you so much, chat. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna ask you if you could just tell everyone who you are, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
I am the host of the FFS podcast. You can find me at f.f.s podcast on YouTube. We cover all kinds of shenanigans. Things have really spun a crazy turn on our channel with people that we cover. A lot of like funny things happen in my sector of the internet, and so we're covering some of those characters and clowns right now. So yeah, if you would go like and subscribe, we're trying to get to 1,000 subs.
We got to get him up there. We got to get him up there.
I would appreciate it. You can come by and say hi, or at least subscribe. If you don't watch, that's fine. I just need to get the to 1,000. But I will see you next Wednesday, Joe. I truly appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
And I also want to let you know our poll results that I'm closing out the poll now. And I've put a link to his channel in the chat and in the description. I urge you to click the link, go over there, hit sub, pop on back here. I won't be offended. He obviously adds a great deal to the show. As much as I hate on the guy, I bring him back here because I do recognize that he adds a lot to the show, and I appreciate him coming in here. And he's not compensated. His compensation is really you, like clicking that link and going over there and just hitting subscribe. Because that doesn't cost you anything, and it actually helps him out a great deal.
Really,
so it more than you can possibly imagine. So I'm pinning it in both YouTube and in Rumble, and I'm urging you guys to just click the link and pop on back and just go over there, hit subscribe. Yeah. If you want to hit the bell, I think that's going over the top a little bit, but
you don't have to do that. You don't have to go over the top, but if you would just subscribe,
it's really getting kind of gay already. But
yeah. It's true.
You know, but if at least give him a subscribe, and while you're before you should probably hit like here.
Yes.
And first,
it's free. Both things are free.
They cost
you nothing.
And that way you'll be able to find your way back. If you hit the like button, you're more likely to find your way back here.
It leaves a trail. I don't know if people know that, but
it's like an ionic trail that ends up enabling you to suck your way back
back. Yeah.
Into the same cozy nook that you're presently in.
Chat, I truly appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I will see y'all next Wednesday. If you don't subscribe, and if you do subscribe, we do really crazy fun stuff from Friday to Monday. Thank you.
Have a good night, my brother. Thank you so much. Take care. Godspeed. And there you go. He's on out of here. He's on down the road. So yeah, there he goes. All right, that was John Sauer. I wasn't pulling his leg. That was not RFK. And we're going to be watching some oral arguments here from Trump versus Cook. But I'm warning you now. It didn't sound like it went. Wasn't sound like it went that well. But yeah, this is what we got. We got what we got.
Where the president has broad discretion, and the court has consistently held in those cases where the president's granted this broad.
You're hearing right now John Sauer talk. He is counsel for Trump, or for the United States. It's really Trump.
discretion, then that's not judicially reviewable. And there's statements to that effect, obviously in Marbury itself, that they disregard pages 165 and 166 of Marbury. But even if the court doesn't accept that, there's a further layer here, which is that they've conceded this is an ultra vires challenge. And this court held last term that the standard of review in an ultra vires challenge is very, very high for them and very deferential to the president itself. It kind of, dovetails with our Dalton and Martin argument as well. In an ultra vires challenge, the burden would be on them to show that what the president did is entirely in excess of his delegated powers and contrary to a specific prohibition in the statute. So there's kind of three ways to get to the same conclusion there, which is that once the president's made a determination, it clearly does.
Ultra vires means that he's acting outside the scope of what his function is. Right? That's what ultra vires is, a Latin term. Meaning like outside of your, what does vires mean? I'm drawing a blank on the definition of that. But it basically means that it's like all of a sudden an air conditioning company just, selling oranges. It's like, this is not what you're about. Why are you selling oranges here? It's outside your function as to what you're supposed to be doing. So too, you can, if in fact their claim is rooted that he's going outside of what his function is, then the yardstick is there's a lot of discretion in his favor. It's very difficult. If that's the reason to knock him out, that's a very difficult thing for them to get to.
Relate to conduct, fitness, ability, or competence for that office, then at that point there's no work for the reviewing court to do. The traditional discretion to the president's determination would kick in.
Counsel, were any of these questions
That's Justice Sotomayor talking now.
except the constitutional question decided by the D.C. Circuit?
The D.C. Circuit, in its stay opinion, relied exclusively on the sort of
notice and an
property interest
opportunity
argument.
to be heard. That's what it said the Constitution required, correct?
It said that, yes.
That because of due process rights, that you have to give her notice that you're firing her and an opportunity to be heard as to why she should not be fired. He's only allowed to fire her for good cause. So that under the statute. So for good cause means notice and an opportunity to be heard. But heard by whom? Who's supposed to decide? It seems logical to say that it would be him because he'd be the firing person, right? So he's the ultimate determination.
It said there's a
All right,
property
that's
interest in
the
this
only
office under
issue.
Loudermill.
That's the only issue it addressed. It did not address all of the things you've talked about today. What the definition of cause is, including whether it includes pre-office conduct and how much or what nexus there has to be between pre-office conduct and post-office conduct.
Outside your power. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and by the way, both Sauer and Clement are both very intelligent attorneys. You should not underestimate either. They both know what they're doing. There's a reason that they go up there. They're very, very skilled debaters, both of them.
One could imagine that what would constitute for cause during office.
I think this is an important question Hetty's asking, and I'll tell you why this is important. He wants to replace these people with folks who are going to lower interest rates. Trump has the Federal Reserve basically has the final terminating power on what our bare minimum interest rates can be charged. Trump feels that if the Fed were to lower interest rates, that would ultimately drive the economy into overdrive. The reason to not lower interest rates is a fear that is going to cause inflation. So this is the constant loggerheads that we see between the Federal Reserve and the president. The president always wants, 0% interest because that frees up money, has people spending more, and tends to juice up the economy. But if they're too low, it does, and there's too much money flowing out there, that does tend to cause inflation. So that's why they sort of have this, the Federal Reserve is always continually trying to come to an assessment as to what is the right level for bare bones interest rates. So if he's able to remove her, that's one step closer toward getting sufficient governors on the board there to lower interest rates. That's what makes this important, because it could affect, ultimately could affect the value of your money or how much revenue you're able to get.
Would be different than what would happen pre-office. Even yourself below said if something was known before confirmation, you likely can't rely on it. You haven't quite said that up here, but logically, pre-office has a different temporal connection.
So the mortgage fraud that he's alleging she committed, and he says makes her unfit, happened before she took office. So the question is that enough, assuming that it's true that she did engage in mortgage fraud, is that a basis to remove her for something, that happened before she came in?
The court didn't address whether the president's determination of cause is reviewable and under what standard.
No, this is Sotomayor. This is still Sotomayor.
Seems to me to be whether or not another, and that's what all our cases have ever said about ultra-virus situations, whether another entity, another adjudicatory entity, has jurisdiction or we do. And 3, whether Cook has a right to notice and hearing under the statute and what that means, and what remedy, if any, Cook can seek now or finally in the case. You ask us today in this emergency application to provide, to finally decide these issues. I want to know why. Meaning, the president, by your own admission, cannot fire someone for disagreeing with his policy choices. You've conceded that, correct?
Correct.
All right. So it's not as if keeping her is going to thwart any right he has to run the department, because he has none. He's conceded that. On policy, he does not.
So and this is actually, by Sotomayor's standards, certainly, this is as effective cross-examination of attorney as I've seen her do. She's making fair legal arguments. She's like, okay, why is this an emergency? Why does he have to get rid of her now? And you recognize that just because they have a policy disagreement, that he wants her to lower rates, she says, no, I want rates higher. That's not considered for cause. That would not be a valid basis to fire her. Why can't this go through the normal process? Why does this have to be decided so on an emergency basis? When you're asking for an emergency basis, saying get rid of her now, it's because you're having a policy disagreement with her. And if it's just a policy disagreement, that's not a legitimate basis to move things along. These are all fair points that she's making.
Now, it's not as if she's been incompetent, negligent, or committed malfeasance while in office. This is something pre-office. So keeping her in office is not causing an immediate harm to the agency. Number 3, we know that the independence of the agency is very important, and that independence is harmed if we decide these issues too quickly and with not due consideration. So waiting, to me, to have at least the lower courts look at these issues.
It does, but is it such an emergency that she has to be out this second? You've had her in there for years. So now because you learned about it, now we need her out this second? That's essentially what Sotomayor is asking.
Issues first makes the most sense to the public's confidence and to the world's confidence about the due process of law. Explain to me why
No, I should have realized that. I think he literally sells everything.
president's harm is greater than the public's, greater than the Federal Reserve, who deserves to have people acting that have been in office. And number 3, why we should disrupt, as we said in Wilcott, the disruptive effect of repeated removals and reinstatement of officers. Why shouldn't we wait till the end of this case, where all the issues are clear and where we make a final decision as to whether she should have been removed or not?
Let me start by addressing that last point. We are seeking a stay of an unprecedented preliminary injunction restoring a principal officer of the United States after being removed by the President of the United States.
112 years, and it's unprecedented that any Federal Reserve officer has ever been removed. So the unprecedented nature of this case is a part of what the president did, not what Ms. Cook did.
I think that statement has to be qualified by the recognition that there have been situations where governors have been credibly accused or found to have engaged in financial improprieties, and those governors have resigned for financial improprieties that are quite analogous to what is at issue in this particular case. But I want to make the fundamental point that in Sawyer, this court held that a preliminary injunction was not available to restore an officer. Sawyer was a preliminary injunction. It's a preliminary injunction against the...
That's true, but weeks later in Drago, we permitted an officer who was still there to stay. So that was a case of reinstating someone. We have plenty of cases that say keeping someone in place who hasn't left yet is different than issuing a preliminary injunction.
I think the court's referring to the Delgado case, and in that particular case, it was a writ of mandamus to an inferior there, the clerk, to recognize the de facto officers when there is dispute about who had been validly elected to be the city commissioner or whatever the statute was. And this court said you can grant a final judgment in mandamus to say you have a ministerial duty to recognize the de facto officer. That is totally different than issuing a preliminary injunction. Keep in mind, there is no such thing as final mandamus. And in fact, Judge Friendly once described that as the starkest of solecisms. Sorry, there is no such thing as preliminary writ of mandamus. Judge Friendly described that as the starkest of solecisms. What this court held in Sawyer is there is no jurisdiction to issue a preliminary injunction restoring a public officer to office. And that's
She never left.
So okay, I know this is very confusing. I understand that. So she's out. She's being reinstated by the court, and he's basically saying there's no authority for the court to do that, to direct that she gets put back in there. That's something that's never happened before. So that's what he's saying, that's, this is something that is unprecedented. And this is the nature of the court granting this type of relief. So Sotomayor is saying, well, it's unprecedented for a governor to be fired from the Fed. And he's like, okay, but it's unprecedented to issue this type of relief where you say someone gets put back in their job. That's unprecedented. So she is out. So, putting her back in, that's unprecedented. The order, the restraining order is basically a temporary, you must do this temporarily. There's a different thing between saying you must do this temporarily versus saying you must not do this temporarily. You must not do this temporarily happens all the time. You must do this temporarily is different. And he's like, there's no such thing as a temporary writ of mandamus. That doesn't make any sense because that's just not the way it works.
She never left. She's still there.
She has reinstated what the court framed its holding as. There is no jurisdiction over the appointment or removal of inequity of public officers. So it does not turn on whether or not she's sort of, stoutly staying in office or whether or not she's gone and then sued later. That it doesn't, nothing turns
General
out.
Sauer, can I ask you a question that's also related to the stay factors? Justice Sotomayor brought up the public interest.
This is Amy Comey Barrett
here. And we have amicus briefs from economists who tell us that if Governor Cook if we grant you your stay, that it could trigger a recession. How should we think about the public interest in a case like this?
I hope he tells her you should completely disregard it. Whether Trump is correct in this or not is not a factor here. It's not a factor.
Two things to say about that. One is, if you look at what actually happened here, she was removed on August 25th, and the stock market went up for the next 3 days. So we've already had a kind of natural experiment, so to speak.
I like that. If that really matters to you, well, it seems like the economy is even better without her there.
out whether or not the predictions of doom will really be implemented. And surely that if investors are jittery or whatever the argument is, you would have seen that on August 25th, and you did not see that. In fact, you have these surprised.
Well, I'll interrupt you there to say that I don't want to be in the business of predicting exactly what the market's going to do.
I agree, and that's why I think the court ought to consider all those amicus briefs and their sort of, predictions of doom with a fairly jaundiced eye. They would
Fairly jaundiced eye, meaning disregard them. That's what he's, when you say the phrase a fairly jaundiced eye, it's sort of mean like, I don't know that I really care about that. That's when that's what the phrase a fairly jaundiced eye means. And he basically is saying he's giving in Supreme Court language the answer that I was giving, that you should basically shove them in the trash and disregard them, because that's what a fairly jaundiced eye means. Is why you listen to them, because you shouldn't be in the business of trying to predict what the economy is going to do. That's not a factor for you.
What the court has to do is weigh, essentially, you have those amicus briefs a reflection of very elite opinion. That
there's a risk, General Sauer.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The Fed is price fixing for the banking industry. It should be between a bank and a customer based on the customer services.
I don't want to be responsible for quantifying that risk. I'm a judge, not an economist. But if there is a risk, doesn't that counsel in the stay posture when the equities are at stake caution on our part?
I think the court has to weigh that risk against the risk that there will be a permanent damage.
So the equities at stake, what do you mean by this? So you need to understand that this is talking about whether or not temporary restraining orders should be granted. So there are different factors you have to hit when you're looking to get a TRO. If you're looking to get or a preliminary injunction, a TRO is a short-term relief. A preliminary injunction is for the balance of the litigation. And the factors you need to hit if you're going to get that relief is you need to show a likelihood of success on the merits. Meaning, by the time we wrap up this case, I'm probably going to win. Number two is you have to show irreparable harm, which means that it's not something that can be relieved by just throwing money at me, but there's going to be damages that you can't fairly calculate. And I think someone being fired, even though they're losing out the money of their job, but the impact societally and all that other stuff, I can see how irreparable harm might favor her. She's the one who needs it. She's the one who's looking for emergency relief here. It's not Trump looking for emergency relief. It's them looking for, he's looking for emergency relief to stop this stay from coming into effect. So she got the emergency relief. She got her stay. And now he's looking to basically knock it back out and say, let's put a hold on that, on her emergency relief coming in. So she came in and said, hey, he's trying to fire me. Don't let him fire me. Let me stay here until the court hears all my arguments. Court at the lower level said, yeah, we're going to issue that stay and direct you to put her back in there. She has to go back in there. So that's her TRO. Now Trump is basically saying, let's put a hold on that TRO and push her back out. So you could be looking at it as his stay, I guess. But the question of balancing of equities. So if whoever is seeking to get it's called injunctive relief, meaning the court's going to direct what's happening during the course of the trial. Whoever's seeking that injunctive relief has to establish a likelihood of success on the merits. They're probably going to win. You have to establish irreparable harm, that there's a terrible outcome that's going to come if I don't get the relief I'm seeking. And you also have to establish a balancing of equities. Balancing of equities means, what does fairness dictate? That's what it's supposed to mean. Usually balancing of equities is supposed to favor the status quo. That's invariably whenever I'm seeking, I'm saying, don't let this person fire me because I want to favor the status quo. That's where we're usually going to go. ACB here is Amy Coney Barrett is trying to say, well, the impact on the economy, maybe the predictions of doom and gloom from the economists should be a factor in helping us determine the balancing of equities. But I think he's correct in saying that they don't know anything. You're not supposed to be in this business, and they don't know anything. And from what we've seen, they've been wrong so far.
The Federal Reserve's credibility from allowing an officer, a governor, to remain in office who's engaged in this kind of behavior before she takes office.
Well, do we also engage in some weighing of our own about how serious we think the misbehavior was in the stay posture? I'm not talking about once the case was here on the merits, but if she were accused of murder or something like that, if we're talking about something that was really an infamous crime, I mean, should we take the nature of the crime into account in the stay posture in the weighing of the equities?
I think what the court ought to take into account is the close nexus between the conduct at issue here and the duties of this incredibly powerful position that has sweeping, powerful authority over the entire United States economy. The governor set interest rates for ordinary Americans all across the country. And here, there's the appearance of having played fast and loose, or at least been grossly negligent in getting favorable interest rates for herself.
So it's appropriate.
What's the message to ordinary Americans that comes out of that is the question for the court. And how do you weigh that against the elite opinion that's reflected in the amicus briefs? Obviously, President Trump's voice speaks to that concern of ordinary Americans. I think with the balance of the equities, what the court ought to do is look at the merits, which are extremely strong for us, and then look at its traditional and can stay factors. The court says when the government is a party, the irreparable harm to the government merges with the public interest. And here we have traditional irreparable harms, injuries to the president's ability to remove a principal officer of the United States. When you look at, for example, the original evidence we've talked about in the decisions of 1789, when everybody said.
So what he's arguing here is when you're trying to figure out balancing of equities and who that favors, does that favor her, does that favor us? You're supposed to look at the president as if he is the citizens of America. That's how you need to look at this. That's what the law is dictating. You have to look at it as if he's a citizen of America. So his interests, what he's expressing his interests, that's the will of America. And that's what you need to be, that's what you should be favoring. It's an interesting theory.
Or both camps were saying, of course, the president can engage in suspensory removals, and we have a preliminary injunction that is conspicuously non-existent, in your words, in CASA, for 225 years of American history.
Mr. Sauer,
that's how it should be balanced.
General Sauer, excuse me. I guess I think you may have to be a little bit.
This is KBJ, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who for once isn't starting with, I don't understand.
More specific with respect to the irreparable harm that you are alleging. Because really, as Justice Barrett sort of indicated, we are in a stay posture here. So the question is, to what extent do we believe that the president or the public is harmed by allowing Ms. Cook to remain in her position for the pendency of this case? I'm not sure that we have evidence here that Ms. Cook is an immediate threat to the public, that she's been in this position for a long time. The kinds of things that you're pointing to, as Justice Sotomayor indicates, are not.
Right. His point that he was just making is if Trump tries firing her and you are saying that he cannot fire her, that harms him and his ability to lead, because it makes it look as if he doesn't have authority. So, and that's the point. So this flew right over her head.
Related to conduct while in office. So it would seem to me that on the stay factors, you would have to say more about the harm of leaving her there for the next however many months while this case is being litigated.
We have a remedy here, which is a preliminary injunction. This court squarely held in Sawyer there was no jurisdiction to issue.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the court's power to do it. I'm talking about assuming we have the power for the moment. I appreciate that you say we don't, but assuming that we do, the question is, what is the harm of allowing that injunction to remain because she's in office now and would just continue?
Among other reasons, we assert grievous, irreparable injury to the public perception to the Federal Reserve of allowing her to stay in office. They argue that this is going to cause the markets to tank.
And you have evidence related?
They didn't tank.
You have evidence related to the public perception, or is this just the president's view?
The president has made that determination. It's reflected in the language of the dismissal order. And as I discussed in my opening,
did the president make that determination based on evidence presented to him in the context of some kind of hearing related to Ms. Cook's conduct?
The Federal Reserve governor who sets interest rates for the entire country appears to have engaged in improper behavior.
No, I understand. You're repeating the allegation. What I'm asking you is the evidence that supports that allegation. Traditionally, when an allegation is made about someone's misconduct or whatnot, there's an opportunity for that person to present evidence, for the other side to present evidence. And even if the president was the final arbiter of this, one would expect that he would do so on the basis of evidence. So what I'm trying to understand is, what is the evidence that has been presented and considered with respect to Ms. Cook's alleged misconduct?
Well, the removal order addresses that because it.
What is the removal order? The Truth Social post?
No, it's the August 25th letter. I think it's Doc 1-4 in the district court. But the removal order addresses that. The evidence is you have mortgage applications within 2 weeks of each other that make clearly conflicting representation.
Was Ms. Cook given the opportunity in some sort of formal proceeding to contest that evidence or explain it?
Not a formal proceeding. She was given the opportunity in public because
in the world, like she was supposed to post about it, and that was the opportunity to be heard that you're saying was afforded to her in this case?
Yes, and she's had plenty of opportunities in the ensuing months where we've had ongoing litigation where there's never been a personal statement addressing that or justifying it.
General, let's
That's a weakness that Sauer has there. She's never had an opportunity to present her case. When asked to come down and present her defense for the claims, the allegations that Trump raised against her, other than, hey, share it with the whole public, which obviously she's not going to do that. So it is a weakness in the firing.
just suppose with me hypothetically for the moment that the court read the
This is Gorsuch talking now.
act to require notice and a hearing. I assume everybody has notice now. Here we are. What would that hearing look like?
I would point to what the court has said in Vermont Yankee, which this court is very reluctant to dictate procedures to even federal agencies. And here the court would be dictating, or a court would be dictating procedures to the president. I think if they rely heavily on Loudermill. Obviously, we dispute if there's any notice and hearing requirement, but Loudermill requires only very minimal, flexible procedures.
Would that be calling Ms. Cook into the Roosevelt room, sitting across a conference table, listening for I don't know how long, how much evidence is a lawyer required, and then making a decision? Could that suffice, you think? What would be required?
It would probably be entire. If the court were to conclude that, it would have to be entirely dependent on the executive to decide, and that's what the case law indicates. Certainly, I think the question points out a great weakness in their argument, which is that the word "cause" does not include notice in a hearing on its face. Congress knows how to provide notice in a hearing. It did so in the NLRA 1 month before it reenacted the for-cause restriction here in 1935, and because it's not there, the court has nothing to provide guidance on that point. And if the court were to conclude that, it would be up to the executive's discretion.
Just a meeting across a conference table finished with "you're fired"? I mean,
all Loudermill says is that you have to be told of what the basis is of the allegations against you and give a chance to tell your side of the story. We believe that was provided in the 5-day window between the Truth Social post and the removal letter.
And then
That's very tenuous to say, well, he put a Truth Social post and she didn't come running in with her records to show that she was okay. That's kind of tenuous.
you mentioned on remedy that there's no such thing as a preliminary injunction for mandamus, and I just wanted to hear you a little bit more on that. You mentioned Judge Friendly. Please, thoughts.
So the contention in the amicus briefs is that you could rely on Delgado to sort of bypass the holding of Sawyer and say that mandamus can provide essentially the same relief as a preliminary injunction. I guess the argument would be you'd have to mandamus everybody, so all the members of the board to treat her as if she's still a governor, all the staff to treat them as if they were still a governor, because Delgado held where there's the city clerk who can't decide who is validly elected city commissioner. The court held you could mandamus that clerk to recognize the de facto officer in the interim. And that doesn't work for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is a preliminary injunction. Mandamus would have to be a final judgment. And that's what Judge Friendly said. There is no preliminary mandamus. That's the starkest of solecisms.
Do I understand you, General, going back to Justice Gorsuch's first question,
I think this is Kagan now.
to continue to maintain that in fact there is no requirement for notice and opportunity for a hearing? Is that right?
Absolutely, yes.
And why is that?
He's saying I don't have to give notice in hearing.
Just because it's not stated in the statute?
It's not stated explicitly in the statute, and Congress knows how to provide that.
Oh, so he's like, since it doesn't say that you have to give notice in a hearing, so I don't have to do that. But if you want to call notice, if you want to determine that there was a need for notice in a hearing, in that case, we have the Truth Social post and the 5-day time period. So that's really where he's coming from here. Okay, so that makes it a little clearer. That he's basically saying, look, they're saying notice in a hearing. We disagree. There's no need. I can fire for cause, and there's no notice, no hearing. Fire for cause. But if you think that there is a need for notice in a hearing, we fulfill that by him sending out True Social posts saying this is all the illicit things that she's doing, and 5 days passed and she didn't defend it. Okay.
Because it did so a month earlier in a similar statute and has done so in many, many statutes.
It doesn't do that. Yeah, I thought that with respect to the neglect and efficiency standard, you do recognize notice in a hearing for that, but not in this statute. Why the difference? Because neither is stated.
Yeah, two reasons. In both Shurtleff and Reagan, this court expressly recognized that that phrase INM or specified causes would bring with it notice in a hearing. And that's part of the court's holding in Shurtleff as I read it, because there it was an INM standard, and there's a removal with no notice or hearing in the court.
Duck Fat's asking, just wondering if Bondi had actually charged her for mortgage fraud, would we even be here now at SCOTUS? I think not. You're probably right. You're probably right. But she's too big a name. She's too big a name for her. For Bondi's scared. Bondi's scared. Going after anyone who's got too big a name.
Held well. Clearly, this wasn't for INM because it was notice in a hearing.
Your reasoning would be that that was a mistake in holding, because since it's not stated in the statute, there's no need for notice in the hearing.
Not exactly, because the old soil argument that we reject as to just simply cause is, we admit, much stronger when it comes to specified causes. So we don't think the court necessarily got it wrong in Reagan when it said specified causes mean that notice in a hearing are provided, because the case law, it's the one point in which the sort of background case law does seem to be unanimous. On the other issues where they contended, the case law all goes in one direction. You have their own sources saying they're all over the map. They're directly contradictory.
But the outcome of your position is that in this case, where you don't have the inefficiency neglect standard, the president need not provide any notice. The president need not provide any hearing. The president just really has to say, Ms. Cook, you're fired.
He has to provide a cause. We contend that there has to be a cause, something that relates to conduct, fitness, sufficiency, or competence. We concede it cannot be for policy disagreement or for no reason at all or at will.
General Sauer, if you're correct that courts do not have the authority to reinstate a removed officer, why are we wasting our time wondering if there's cause or not? I mean,
This is Alito. He's like, so who cares if there's cause? We don't have the authority to put him in.
because even if we say, yes, there is cause, shouldn't have removed her, but we don't have the authority to order her reinstatement. How is that consistent with the time and energy being spent on determining if there's cause?
We agree that that's an alternative basis. As we say in our brief, that's reason enough to rule in our favor, and we have a holding of the court, Sawyer. We also have this tradition I was referring to earlier of recognition that runs from the decision of 1789 to all the opinions in Myers, it's alluded to in Wiener and so forth, recognizing the president's power of interim or suspensory removals. So we agree that's an alternative, that's an independent basis for us to prevail.
Well, it's an independent basis. I guess it's not independent in the sense that if that's right, the other one is irrelevant, right? It seems to me that if there is any level of cause, and you indicate that there is some level of cause, right? Well, then you can't be right about the idea that a court's...
Not for at least 6 more months. I'd be surprised if it happens in the first half of 2026. And there's going to have to be much more pressure from MAGA, which I think will start to come.
Can't order anybody who's been...
I want to see her gone. I want her out. I want her replaced. Frankly, I think Andrew Bailey would be perfect. He's already in the administration. But But yeah, no, I think it's like 6 months away. I hope I'm wrong.
Been removed to be reinstated.
There is a traditional remedy to reinstate, we don't dispute, there's a traditional remedy to reinstate wrongfully removed officers, which is mandamus. But they don't argue mandamus here, and the reason they don't argue mandamus is they face a number of insuperable obstacles to prevailing in mandamus. One is, of course, going all the way back to Marbury against Madison. You can't mandamus the president, his discretionary acts. In addition to that, there is no preliminary writ of mandamus, as Judge Friendly pointed out, and the Seventh Circuit has held. In other words,
So what he's saying basically is you can't issue this relief against the president. And it was wrong for them to do that. It was wrong to issue this relief. Even if she's ultimately going to win in her case, it's wrong to issue this relief against the president, which is probably his best argument. But I'll tell you right now, I don't think he's going to win here. I think Trump is going to lose on this case. I think the read that people have of the room is probably accurate. I think she's going to end up staying. Which is unfortunate, but that's how I'm reading this one. I'm reading this one going in Lisa Cook's favor, which I don't think it's almost like his best argument is maybe it wasn't done right, but once it was done wrong, that you can't give this relief. It's not a very compelling type of argument. Those are the type of arguments which tend to lose. So I'm just being real with y'all. And if you want more of me being real with y'all, you need to come back tomorrow. Because we're landing our plane relatively quickly over here. We are bringing it down. 6 months will be too late, in my honest opinion. I'm just telling you. She doesn't seem like she's going any day. So 6 months feels almost optimistic. Do you think Trump has a bigger plan at large when it comes to prosecution of people in deep state? No, I don't. I think that's wishful thinking of people. I don't think he has a bigger plan at large. I don't believe any of these people who say trust the plan or this is what's coming. I don't believe it. I don't. I've been hearing that for the last 5 years. I don't believe any of that stuff. At least not me personally. I've become very Missourian, where I'm like, show me. Don't tell me what's gonna. I don't think he's playing 4D chess politically. I think when people talk about him playing 4D chess, it's more about as far as understanding people. But on a political level, I think he knows how to capitalize in the moment. But it's not like there's a long orchestrated plan that he has. I don't think that we've seen any evidence of that. We've seen him know how people will react in business deals, in negotiations, but not as far as pulling the old switcheroo. That sounds like wishful thinking from people who look at MAGA like it's a cult. I'm saying MAGA folk, because there's a percentage of people in MAGA who have a cult-like devotion to Donald Trump, and I love him as president, and I think he's amazing. He's certainly very fallible. And I don't think that he's displayed that type of attitude at all. So I don't know anyone who's displayed that kind of attitude. I can't think of it. That's not a knock on him. I can't think of anyone who's ever, tell me historically who's been like that shrewd politically. So I don't think there's a plan on the political front. I do think that he has very intricate plans with respect to this is how I can deal with foreign nations. This is how I can get Iran to do what I want. This is how I can get Denmark to do what I want, or these people do what I want. That I think that there's a plan. But as far as going after his enemies, we've never seen any, internally here, we haven't seen anything of that nature. So that's why I don't believe that such a thing exists. And I don't know that I don't know who I could think of who I would say has been able to do that. That's a very difficult thing to do unless you have a lot of money that you're using to move pieces around behind the scenes, like Alex Soros does, where he's burning billions of dollars. Maybe Elon Musk is able to do that by using lots of money, but that's more of a money thing than I think, and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that, and here's your aha gotcha moment. That's more Hollywood than it is actual real life, in my view. That's my perspective on it. Trump Delta with domestic, 6 months now dealing with world. Trump Delta with this domestic, first 6 months now dealing with world. Oh, Trump was dealing with domestic problems for the first 6 months, and now he's dealing with the world. Yeah, I mean, the last 6 months he has been dealing with the world. And he's been fixing one problem after another, pretty much since the summer. I thank you all for joining me. I am landing my plane. Some of you noticed I was looking like a little peaked, a little tired out, a little worn down the stretch there. I apologize for that. Just give her cause fire for her after hearing why you deny her defense. Yeah, I don't know. You can fire her. Well, you can't fire her again. I don't understand that. But I thank you all for joining me. And God willing, I plan on being back here tomorrow night. Please make sure you check out goodlogic.locals.com. While you're here, please hit like and subscribe. It's very, very important stuff. Like and subscribe. Drop a comment down below. And just make sure, even if you're in Davos, do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. Don't eat the bugs. Good night, everyone. And as always, Godspeed.